Not surprised to see tops because the doubles have been working so well, and another one added to that list of combination finishes.
They go double here. Does go double tops. Oh, that is beautiful.
101 for Nash. Well, that's one way of doing it. Room 101.
Get the job done for Neil Duff, not just in this match, but in this group. Double 16.
Fabulous from the Duff man.
He's got 6 darts and 110 to win this game 4-2. He's going to get a dart at double 18 to do it with a tub topper on the outer ring. He started yesterday with a tub plus checkout. He begins tonight with a ton out.
Good evening. Have you recovered yet? Wouldn't usually start a show like this, but I'm sure many of you are just winding down after the second most important sporting event of the evening. It's all about who's going to be on target from the spot tonight. Our spot is 7'9¼ away from the dartboard, and you will see some rather spectacular finishes this evening. We can promise you that. And our top punditry team tonight: Paul Nicholson, Matthew Edgar. Been a quite uneventful night so far, but I think that's going to change, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we've got for a really good night tonight. I've been looking through this for hours, really, trying to find where I'm going to pin my sort of mass tonight and look at who I think is going to win tonight. I've got none the wiser. I've been here all week. We've seen it all. We've seen it all from the players. We've seen the highs, the lows, and it's going to who can put it together tonight.
Paul, Saturday night of the Super Series never lets you down, does it?
Never. Just go back a few weeks looking at Andreas Harrison with Richard Eric Rowlands in the final, and everybody thought it was academic. Anything but. And when you've got players like Terry Nash tonight, who is a bit of an X-factor type of player, he could turn things on and do what Richard Eric Rowlands did a couple of weeks back. So there's nothing certain, and I'm with Matt. I'm really, really struggling to find a favourite.
Absolutely. Just what is needed right now. Not an English player in sight in tonight's finals night lineup. Jim Mchuan of Scotland, Nolan Vanluven of the Netherlands, 2 Welshmen in John Worley and Terry Nash. We've also got Neil Duff, who's been very, very successful on these types of stages, and Timothy Verbrugge, who's been perhaps a bit of a revelation this week.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with Timothy this week. He's probably somebody that we maybe didn't expect what we're seeing from him. Last time he was here, he was okay, but certainly the level of improvement that we've seen, we didn't expect. And when we were talking to the other players, they were sort of eyeing up Timothy as a potential win or a player that they should be beating at the start of the week. They look at his stats that he's playing at over in Belgium. He played on the Challenge Tour and lost first round in every single one of those. And it looked like quite bleak reading, really, before we got here. But that's on paper, and a lot of the time you don't get the perfect preparation and conditions. And as someone who at the moment is out there playing on these various tours, I can really vouch for the fact that it's so hard to hit peak performance. And maybe when you give Timothy the right environment and the preparations, that we're going to see the very, very best from Timothy Verbrugge. And we really have seen that this week. And he was a complete outsider at the start of the week, but now he's a real contender.
Paul, I'm going to ask you about Jim Mchuan. In fact, we'll have a look at Group A in order to do that. It was a fantastic performance from him, particularly on Wednesday when he only dropped 3 legs in the entire day. Now, Mchuan, since he won Series 5, has never really played as well since he's been back. That changed this week, didn't it?
Yeah, very much so. I think the fact that Jim has not really performed since winning Series 5 has been a real mistake on his part, because he had the momentum. He came into 2024 as one of the players to watch, but this week he's back. And when you're having a day like Wednesday, I'm not sure how you can have a better day than that. I mean, winning 20 legs and losing 3, just think about that for a second. 20-3. That's not a time, that's a scoreline. That is remarkable, and he's got to be confident ahead of tonight.
Yeah, it certainly will be when you've seen him many times here. Any chinks in the armour from Mchuan ahead of this evening?
There was, but there was Monday and Tuesday. And as the week went on, they were starting to eliminate, and he's getting stronger and stronger as the week goes. Something we expected. I've had a good couple of conversations with Jim Mchuan. We heard from him up here in the studio at the end of play on Wednesday, and he's had time off. He's took time away. He felt he's playing a little bit too much, sort of lost the passion and the drive that comes with darts. And when you come to something like this is a big event, and when it just becomes all material and it's just part of the flow, you don't really get yourself up for it, and you're away all the time. It's the travelling, the hotels, everything that goes with it. I think it was just getting the better of Jim McEwan. He's had time away. This was sort of like a first step getting back into the sport again. And maybe what Jim McEwan's done here is going to learn from this. You don't have to play everything. Yes, you can play everything. We talk about this all the time. The options that are available for a dart player at the moment, you can play every single week. You don't have to play every single week. Jim McEwan, if he sorts his diary out, he's certainly sorted his darts out, we could see him winning titles again.
Yeah, well, he certainly won Group A. Scott Taylor and Neil Duff, who've both won on that stage before, they were in a real battle to try and get in Group B. Now, Taylor won that battle, but he didn't have the time you would have expected in that group. And seeing him in fourth place and therefore not qualifying must be the biggest shock of the week, Paul.
Absolutely, 100%. When I was watching the coverage the last couple of nights, I'm thinking to myself, it's okay, Scott will find what he needs to find. It didn't come. And when you think about his record, he'd never missed a Saturday up until this week. So one of two things is going to happen from here. He's going to have a huge rebound when he comes back, or this is going to plague his confidence. I don't think it's going to be that. I think he will bounce back, but it is a huge shock that he's not here.
Yeah, but who is here? Noah Lynn Vanluven, debut, topped the group in her 2-day stint here. It becomes a 3-day stint. Lots to be impressed by.
Absolutely. And, you know, Noah Lynn Vanluven, I think impressive is the word that I would use in regards to this season so far. Cast your mind back 12 months ago. You know, would we have said Noah Lynn Vanluven, first of all, would be here winning groups? Would we have said Noah Lynn Vanluven would have won a Challenge Tour event? And not just winning one, but winning one in the style that happened. 100-plus averages, beating players that have been winning and been very successful on this stage. And that really franked that form as well. One of the most improved dart players on the planet. And it'll be really interesting to see what happens tonight, because I think this is a developing prospect.
Speaking of being successful on this stage, Paul, John Worsley makes it to finals night again, 7 times from as many attempts. He shed 5 stone as well, so he was a little bit worried about how he might react to that, but he still got a decent game in him.
I think he had every right to feel a little bit anxious about how things would be affected. It's about balance, centre of gravity. That will change. But the way he's performed, I think he should be very pleased. I think moving forward, if he wants to be a better dart player, he's going to need a bit more energy. He's going to need a bit more staying power. But even with the additional weight from what he's had previously, he has won a week, beating Andy Hamilton in a final. So we can't count him out of tonight. He is a very, very good player. It's just about getting enough chances for me when it comes to John.
And I asked Matt earlier about Timothy Verbrucher. He's through as well. Look, it's your first night this week. Are you surprised to see him in the 6?
Yes, I am. I'm with Matt. I think at the start of the week, I looked at his name and I thought, maybe there's someone who's possibly not going to make Saturday this time around. He's going to have to find an awful lot, but he looked dependable at times, and that is a really dangerous thing to have in your locker when you're up against this kind of talent. So the fact that he has progressed this week, that I'm thoroughly pleased for him, because he's looked solid.
Group C saw Neil Duff qualify. He actually ended up winning that group, and the question I'm going to ask you, Matt, is whether or not it actually ended up being a blessing in disguise, him falling into that group.
Yeah, most likely so. I mean, Neil Duff did eye up Group B, so he was disappointed to be in Group C, but he's found his way here, and that was ultimately the plan all along for Neil Duff. He tends to be here most times on a Saturday night. He's been successful on a Saturday night, and there was even a little bit of a mind game when he took on Terry Nash, because he actually needed to win that game by 4-0 or 4-1 to top the group. And before they went on stage, he turned around to Terry, he goes, "I'm going to beat you 4-0. And I like that, because imagine what's going to happen tonight if them two come up against each other. I'd probably be in the same camp as Neil Duff. I'd be saying something along the lines of, well, you can have a leg tonight, I'm going to beat you 4-1. But the fact he said 4-0 and then went and did it, is that just going to plant a little seed of doubt there for Terry Nash should they clash later on?
But on Terry Nash, Paul, Welshman, maybe an underdog. It's got shades of it a couple of weeks ago, hasn't it?
Hasn't it just? I think Terry's got a great reputation coming from the ADC in Wales. He's known for hitting a lot of 180s when he's confident, but I like the improvement from the first time he was here in the previous series to now. He looks more comfortable and he looks more likely to explode. Tonight, it could be him that has got the X factor for the favourites like McEwan and Duff.
I know, Matt, you know Anthony Allen quite well as well. He was in contention at this point. This was a big match for Terry Nash, who then won it and then ran away with it from there.
I think that's the thing that sort of impressed me with Terry Nash the most, actually. When the chips was down and he had to do something, he did. And one of the things was he was sort of adjusting through pace a little bit, and we sort of was getting a bit deliberate at times, trying to make sure of it. And then when it came to those sort of big games, it was like, well, this is go time. And he played with a lot of rhythm, a lot of freedom. And that's a good quality, because most people get deliberate when the chips are down, not the other way round. And there's no safety tonight. So I think we're going to see the best from him all the way through.
Yeah, well, let's move on to tonight and show you the groups that the players are in. And Jim McEwen, John Worsley and Terry Nash are in Group 1. Nolan Vanluven, Neil Duff and Timothy Verbrewer in Group 2. Look, people might be sick of shootouts tonight, especially those viewers watching us in the UK where we're broadcasting from. But we could have a shootout of our own. We could have two.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a shootout tonight, but I think with Group 1, you've got a lot more experience on the whole as a collective. I think someone like Neil Duff is going to be looking at Group 2 thinking, I'm up against people who've never been here on a Saturday night. I should own this group. But things are not scripted in darts. So I think if we're going to get a shootout, it probably is going to come from Group 1.
Are there players that you are expecting to be in the semi-finals?
No. There really isn't. You know, I like to sit here and give some bold predictions and then tell you I was right over and over again every single time I get it right. But I can't. I really can't. I've looked at it this week. Everyone's had real good positives. There's been a couple of frailties from players at times, and tonight's just who puts it together. It really is just going to be all on the night. I don't think we've got any sort of favourite.
There we go. He doesn't know, but let's see what the bookies think. This is what they've gone for in terms of compiling the odds tonight. Jim McEwen favourite. John Worsley separates him and Neil Duff. Any surprises there for you, Paul?
I'm a little surprised that Duff is at third, behind Worsley. I just get the feeling that Neil's got this knack. He's got 3 weekly titles and he's won double trouble as well. So Saturday nights have been good to him after a period of being the bridesmaid on the Saturday night. He figured out how to make it here and then win the finals. So I'm surprised to see him at number 3 there. And Worsley and McEwen in the top 3 with Neil, that to me is not a surprise.
For you, first match, Jim McEwen playing Terry Nash. How important is that game for either player?
The first one's vital for every single player tonight. Short format, isn't it? You don't have long, it's little tiny groups. Take a heavy defeat in the opening game and your night's pretty much done. You don't want to be chasing. The other thing about this game is there tends to be a longer wait between when you play your first one and when you play your next game as well. So if you take that heavy defeat, it's a long time to sit around stewing on things. So even if you lose this one, you've got to get it close.
Yeah, let's just show you the full order of play for this evening then. McEwen taking on Nash, as I mentioned. We'll then jump to Group 2, so Nolan Vanluven taking on Timothy Verbrewer in the first match of that group. Are there any games in those two groups, Paul, that you think are going to be decisive?
Well, I think Nash against Worsley's a really interesting one. By that time, Terry will have an enormous amount of information as to what he's got to do to get through. There are so many intricacies with the format on a Saturday night, but I'm always keen to see the Group 1 player who plays their second game in Game 3 to see where they're at, because they could be the first person eliminated.
But we have seen players in recent weeks where they've lost their opening game heavily and managed to bounce back. So maybe it's not as significant as we sometimes make out.
No, exactly. And you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen on the night. When you look ahead and you lose that opening game, you've still got a chance. That's the good part about it. It's a slim chance. There's always an opportunity. But just looking at those groups, and you've got two really proven players in here. Jim McEwen in one, Neil Duff in the other. So maybe the head-to-head clashes are going to come when those two players aren't on the hockey.
When we saw Jimmy Van Ski win last week, he had a real big audience support. Tonight it's going to be a little bit more subdued in here. We did have the England match on for viewers coming in to watch here, so anyone that's in here is probably an England fan. There are no English players. Would it be wise of someone to try and get the fans on the side tonight?
It wouldn't be the worst idea, but I think it plays into the hands of Neil Duff. Think about some of the weeks that he's won. They've been fairly mundane affairs when it comes to crowd interaction. So it might just be played into the hands of the 2022 world champion.
Right, let's find out. I'll let you guys head to the commentary box. The opening match is Terry Nash against Jim McEwen. Got a feeling that the few members of the audience tonight might not be cheering for the former champion, of course. He will be tartan-clad as usual. Jim McEwen, first up on finals night.
Your new Modus Super Series champion. He is Chucky. He is Jim McEwen.
Well, he's done it before, hasn't he, Jim Mchuan? Not only winning weeks, but he's won an entire series. The Series 5 champion is through. The Series 6 champion, Scott Taylor, didn't make it. And of course, we lost the Series 7 champion, Andreas Harrison, earlier in this series. So Mchuan might be trying to do what Luke Littler has done here, and that's get his hands on the trophy for a second time. The 57-year-old from Maybole will be hoping to be dancing at the end of the evening. He takes on the ADC qualifier from Wales, Six Nations champion Terry Nash. Can he win the battle of 5 nations at the Super Series tonight? Let's find out in the company of Paul and Matt.
Thank you very much, Chris. It is finals night in week 5 of Series 8, and Chucky is back. And back he comes to Saturday via a Group A win. Not the first time he's done that. And as Matthew Edgar eloquently put earlier tonight, he's had a little bit of a break. But sometimes you need to get the hunger from somewhere, and sometimes the best way to do that, Matt, is to go away from what you love.
Absolutely. And it's worked really well for Jim Mchuan this week. He has changed the plan as well when he's been down here. Normally said he just likes to sit around in the hotel room, but the past couple of days has been going around, taking in the sights of Portsmouth, keeping himself very active, keeping himself engaged, not just sitting around and going stale like we have seen many times in the past.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. First leg, Jim to throw first. Game on.
Paul Hinks will be our referee for all the action, all the way through to the trophy lift at the end of the session, when we will add another name to the Roll of Honour for this series Champions Week. I'm going to let you know something very early as well, Paul, because I know you've not been here this week, and a lot of our viewers have been letting us know via the YouTube chat, and Terry Nash let him know,
100.
or let me know himself, that he's actually known locally as the John Cena of darts.
I don't mean to go full Australian on you, but please explain.
I wish I could. I don't quite know. He even gives it the "you can't see me" after he wins a game.
No offence to Terry, but he looks more like King Kong Bundy than John Cena. I'm sure we'll get to the bottom of that. And it would make for a very interesting question later if he was to win tonight. But Terry Nash is here based on winning through Group C. But Matthew Edgar, that is a very interesting 180 we've just had.
It is, because until now we've had 999 180s in the series. Jim Mchuan has just registered the 1,000th.
We can't guarantee another 1,000 in this series, but when you think about the fact that we've got another 7 weeks after this before Champions Week, it's pretty likely. This is a pretty strong start from Chucky.
One of them, folks.
He's got company in the finishing zone here in the form of a boss baby. Double top. Something he will leave an awful lot.
No score.
Well, I'm lost for words. When he was looking up, I thought he was going to calibrate his eyes to the right. Did he think he had 80?
Maybe so, but
41.
I mean,
Jim Mchuan 60.
I'm just baffled. I'm a little bit lost for words. Very unusual mistake. Jim Mchuan doesn't normally make errors like that. That is uncharacteristic. The double 10, Jim. Double 10.
All is well now, because if he'd lost that leg, it could have been really bad for the rest of his evening. Because like you said, Matt, when you win Group A, you get Game 1 on Saturday night, and your second game is not until Game 5.
60.
Imagine if he starts the night with a miscount or a mishap like that. It could have a massive effect. However, he got away with it.
Yeah, purely speaking from experience in that situation, because I remember playing a finals night, playing Justin Smith, who
41.
went in and banged in a monstrous average. He won 4-0 in a heartbeat, and it was almost like I didn't want to be here, because I thought, I've got no way of turning this around. You sat in the backstage bit, and you're just watching the night go ahead of you, and yeah, it was a horrible situation to be in, and you've got to get something on the board in this opening game.
97.
Very dependable player, Chucky. He does share a statistic with Terry Nash this week. Their win percentage for the week is 80%.
100.
Now, anybody who in a weekly campaign here or anywhere else in World Darts, if they have a win percentage of over 66%, in my opinion, that is world class. But when you are playing 15 games like Jim did, or 10 games like Terry has,
50.
and that is up at 80%, that is very, very good.
The class of the field as well that he was in there with. He's in there with a player like
100.
Scott Taylor, who's won a series here before, Neil Duff, who's won the WF World Championship and many titles here at the Super Series. It wasn't like he just got a good draw this week and he sort of had opportunities. He's been in there
42.
with class
Tell your
proven
car 101.
operators, and then players like Timothy, who's coming up later. But this is a chance for Terry to level us up.
81.
Mchuan can't do anything from his position. Early blows in this one point to a very tight contest unless somebody has a bit of a purple patch. Should be 25 and bull with the last start.
139.
Or you can just
Tell your car
find that
20.
marker and get yourself onto something easier. Double five. He was
He's showing
cautious
the
with the
second
first
leg.
one, but
Carry
the
on.
second one at double five was perfect.
Third leg Jim
It's
to
almost a
throw
pity
first.
that
Game
we
on.
couldn't get Terry Nash in the same group as a John Scott, because then you'd have Nasher against Nashy. I'm sure there are plenty of darts fans out there watching on our YouTube channel who would love to see Neil Duff
140.
versus Jim Mchuan in the final to see who takes the cake because of what happened in the 2022 quarterfinals at Lakeside when Mchuan was
100.
3-0 up, coasting, and everybody thought this is going to be his title. And then Neil Duff had other ideas.
I was fully in the Jim McEwen camp myself that year. I did my predictions, worked it out, and I thought Jim McEwen was going to pick up the trophy. And that's the sort of defeat
140.
I don't think you ever get over it. He could beat Jim McEwen could beat Neil Duff for the rest of his life. Never lose to him ever
60.
again. But I don't think that will ever subsidise that moment.
That makes perfect sense. But if we may touch on a subject that Jim McEwen doesn't care about, which is England winning a penalty shootout, what about Bukayo Saka missing a penalty in the final in 2021 and then hitting a vital one tonight in the shootout? There is such a thing in sport as redemption. Whether it's full
81.
redemption or
Jimmy
not
got
is
81.
entirely up to the player. However, Jim needs to put himself in position if he wants that tonight. 74 left. Nicely up for tops here. There's no
41.
player of anybody here tonight who will leave tops as much as he does.
Well, there is
55.
a small
Jimmy
pattern
Carr,
emerging in the
40.
very early part of this game. That is the player throwing first, completely uncontested in regards to getting down to a finish. Will tend the target he hit to
Game
win
on
the
the
opening
third
leg.
Jim McEwen.
If you are a tops man, you tend to find
Fourth
you
leg
love the
Teddy to
tens as
throw
well.
first. Game on.
When you've been here this week, Matt, have you got to the bottom of the letters on the back of the collar of the Jim McEwen shirt? Because it looks like he's going on
96.
Wheel of Fortune. He's picked his letters for the final.
I think he did that just to give you a game. What's that other one where they pull out the letters? I'll have a vowel. I'll
Scrabble.
countdown.
100.
I almost got it then.
You put that there. That's Paul Nicholson countdown. That for you.
60.
Oh, when it comes to dart players in Scrabble, I always go for Ratajski and his first name because there's two Z's in there. 10 points a Z. I think Jim looks fabulous for 57.
60.
Sprightly, energetic, focused. And that shirt, terrifying.
100.
But what's scary to him is the thought of not making the semi-finals. He has, in the past, had Group A wins and not made the semi-finals on the Saturday. Whether you come
40.
through Group A, B or C, it's merely a vehicle to get you to this point. It's almost as if the previous 5 days are completely irrelevant now.
That's exactly what it is.
140.
There's no almost about it. None of that means anything now, and if Jim McEwen was to lose this game and the next, I'm sure he wouldn't go home thinking, well, at least I won Group 8. It's all about Saturday. And that little pattern of play continuing again, that the player throwing
41.
second is making
Telecar
no
1.5.
attack in the scoring phase.
Tops for Terry.
Game show the
And we
fourth
have
leg.
ourselves a
China.
tie game at 2-2. Can anybody make an assault on the
Looks like
throw,
Jim to throw
Terry?
first. Game
Or
on.
will it be Jim just doing what he's done already, comfortably holding?
You can get into that pattern, can't you, where you sort of overthink and overanalyze the situation where you're like, well, I've got my darts next, so I can sort of take the foot off, and you sort of try and come
16.
in and out of concentration all the time, and sometimes that can just catch you out.
How do you think Terry's feeling? This is his first Saturday
One
night.
of the legs.
He's obviously feeling pretty good there. That's a maximum. That's his first.
Well, I had a bit of a chat with Terry when he got here on Thursday, and do you know what? If I have to answer that question, how do I think he's feeling? And I'm going to have to explain
100.
this, because my answer is I don't think he cares. And I mean that in a positive way. I think he really cares that he's here because he loves
85.
the opportunity he's getting here at the Super Series, but I don't think he cares to the point where, oh, these are good players, or they. I think he's so self-confident within himself, and is very much one of those players that's got that attitude. I've got 3 darts, he's got 3 darts. I'm not going to overthink
78.
it. Whoever throws them better wins.
And there are players who would do interviews or talk to analysts and say that, but they don't mean it.
41.
Are you saying that Nashi is the kind of player that just plays the game instead of getting wrapped up in the game?
Yeah, I believed him when he said it, that he just there to play darts. I'll just throw them, and if they win, they go in, they go in. If they don't, they don't.
121.
Jim's done well there. That was a bad second dart. He has got himself to a finish first, but this is a closer leg than the previous 2 where he started.
99. Jim McCall 142.
Now, for someone who does like a bit of double top action, surely the 17s is the play. That's a nice bonus. That's a pretty good approach.
84.
We have
Jim McCall
seen
96.
this finish this week via double-double, but he doesn't need 2 doubles. He just needed the
Game show
1,
the
and that's the
fifth
first
leg.
break of throw
Very
tonight.
nice. 6 leg Terry to throw first.
That is the
Game
perfect
on.
breaker throw moment. Just think about the amount of time Jim McEwen's now been stood at the back of the stage since he last thrown a dart. We've got
60.
a little break between each individual leg. Terry's gone for a drink. He had to throw his darts, then the scoring. He's probably had Jim McEwen at the back of the stage for about 45 seconds. You can think a lot of things in 45 seconds.
100.
Biologically speaking, billions of things. Which is why, as a dart player,
100.
sometimes thinking, or to be more specific, overthinking can be rather fatal. And at the minute, if McEwen doesn't get the final 2 legs, he's going to walk away from game 1 on Saturday night
81.
defeated. And the other person in this group is no mug. John Worsley is dangerous.
Semi-finalist
64.
on the PDC Pro Tour when he was a tour card holder. I believe he's got some big wins in his time as well on the PDC Pro Tour. Being the likes of Gerwin Price along the way.
60.
This one could be getting away from Jim. We said at the top of the show that Terry Nash could be
99.
a bit of an X-factor player if he finds his best stuff at the right moments in the matches. And we can say that about anybody. But when someone is coming here for the first time and has shown genuine improvement from the first time they came, we have got to take notice. And we are
60.
talking about an international player here. They don't just give caps away. He's earned that cap. And he's used it well to get a successful win for his team. And he's
121.
very close to getting individual success here in the first match of the Week 5 finals.
He's used his opportunity really well there with Jim Mchuan going back-to-back scores without finding a treble. And Terry Nash, barring any mistakes here, is going to get 2 match darts.
57.
Watch for the You Can't See Me.
17.
He doesn't see tops.
100.
Does McEwen get a shot at it? He has not hit it in this match because he split it twice. He needs it twice. And he can't find it. It's the
16.
same spot every time, just
14.
underneath that top of the shot bed.
Game.
But
shot of
Terry
the match, Terry
doesn't
Nash.
need another tops. He's got the only one he needed to win by 4 legs to 2. And when he comes back in game number 3 against John Worley, he will have a chance to win the group before Jim McEwen even plays his second match. Steady performance from Terry, averaging over 88 and 4 out of 9 on the doubles, is very effective indeed. So now we go over to Group 2, and we're going to get our first match from that one with Timothy against Noah Lynn.
Welcome to the party in Portsmouth here at the Modus Live Lounge.
They've both got the talent where they can just reel off leg after leg and dish out a heavy defeat. What a way to start the day. We're up and running here on Champions Week with a maximum.
Well, what a way to finish. A 12-dart leg.
Beautiful check out there from Cam Crabtree. Only needs the one.
Shot on the second leg. Darius
What were you saying about efficiency?
Shot on the third leg. Reece
Is that
Robinson.
the moment that Reece Robinson comes alive in this crucial clash? Looks like he's going to go for it. And it is right next to his favourite double top. And he gets the job done at the earliest possibility. That is Cam Crabtree through.
Case not so. Harrison gets the all-important win.
Game shot on the second leg. Darius Labanowski. Game shot.
Well, Smith is it
Darius
a
Labanowski.
9? A long time. And that clenched fist.
Game shot.
He gets the job done in the end. He's nodding in total agreement because
Game shot on the fourth leg.
Just
Darius
like that.
Labanowski.
only needs the one. There you can see.
That she can unlock at any moment, but that is quality from Harrison. This would be a wake-up.
Welcome to the party in Pompey. Should be a good marker for him, and is. It was a great dive.
Shot on the first leg. Andreas
It's a
Harrison.
breaker throw for Andres Harrison.
Shot on the second leg. Cam Crabtree.
Consecutive breaker throw. Double 16 is found.
And he does lead.
Fifth leg. Shot on the
It's not an 11, but it's a beautiful 12, treble 17, which he gets. Bullseye for the win. Absolutely incredible by Andreas Harrison.
He's Andreas Dirty Harrison.
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series on finals night, week 5 of Series A, and the Series 5 champion has been beaten in the opening match. Jim Mchuan going down to Terry Nash 4-2 in the first game. A bit of a surprise there. Jim Mchuan, the favourite to win tonight, but Nash could put himself through if he beats John Worley in the second game in that group. We are going to move to Group 2 next. Neil Duff, the favourite to win that group, but the other two players are about to do battle. Noah Lynn Vanluven taking on Timothy Verbruwer in the first match of that group. And it's been a fantastic debut here at the Super Series for Noah Lynn. She won a Challenge Tour title. She's been winning on the Women's Series, and she won Group B. She could be about to win an entire finals night, an entire weekend at the Super Series. So let's see how she gets on tonight. Can she? We will find out, of course, some devilish Dutch darts from Noah-Lynn Vanluven this week. She's played some fantastic stuff, not only getting through to finals night, but winning Group B in the process. It's been a really, really good debut, following up from that success that she's had elsewhere, including a Challenge Tour victory earlier this year. And the 27-year-old Duchess looking to get off to a winning start on finals night. But Timothy Verbrewer, well, he has been kind of a standout player this week himself. Maybe not expected to have made it through to finals night, but got himself into Group B after that Group A campaign, and he was very, very competitive in that as well. Maybe the joker in the pack this evening, but he could be following in the footsteps of the likes of Andreas Harrison from the ADC Europe link and going on and enjoying victory on the stage. Back then to Paul Nicholson and Matthew Edgar.
Thanks, Murph. Yes, really interesting dynamic about this one. So, when they see that Jim Mchuan has lost his first game, does that change anything, Matthew Edgar? Or is it them just being really focused on what they have to do in their group first?
I would be more down that road of thinking personally, but, you know, we have seen it affect people in the past, haven't we, when favourites have been beaten or knocked out of events. Remember the old Phil Taylor effect, where someone beat Phil Taylor, then the next round they'd go out. And happens very, very often within this sport, where you just sort of take the eye off the ball a little bit.
Like Nolan to through first. Game on.
Something we can't say about Timothy. He's a very, very serious, focused, determined customer.
I'm going to ask you what seems like a really stupid question. Yeah, Matthew Edgar. But I'm really intrigued by your answer. Is there any reason why Noah-Lynn can't win tonight?
I can't think of one. Because if you need any argument to the case that Noah-Lynn can't win tonight, just look at when Noah-Lynn won the Challenge Tour. Beating the likes of Crabtree, Pilgrim, who have been successful. Pilgrim's the record holder on that stage for the best game we've ever seen. Averages around the 100 mark. I mentioned earlier, to me, Noah-Lynn Vanluven is one of the most improved players over the last 12 months.
And when you're playing well, you continue to play. I think Timothy's been very, very solid this week.
41.
But if there is an equaliser in this match, it's the fact that they're both making their first appearance here on a Saturday night in front of a modest audience, for obvious reasons. There has been a small matter of something else happening in sport tonight. But we thank everybody for tuning in this evening.
83. Nolan, your car, 79.
This is for the early settler on a Saturday night, and that's not the worst miss. Well, I didn't expect Nolan to leave double one from 79.
We'll get a go at it to hold on to the throw in the opening leg.
57. Nolan, your car 2.
She went for double two really quickly off that 54. It makes me think that she might have gone for that 54 instead of the single 18.
No score.
A chance for Timothy now to get an early break. Keeping it simple. Maybe not so. Double 10.
Game shot on the first leg.
Nothing simple about that, but it is a break of throw. Break of throw for Timothy.
Second leg, Timothy to throw first. Game on.
He doesn't give much away. He's very much a stone-faced player.
If there was a weakness for Noah-Lynn Vanluven, it was coming back to the board with 3 darts in hand.
60.
Combination finishes, not a problem. It's something we tend to see more with players that play with a bit of pace, that when they've got the 3 darts in hand, they
99.
seem to struggle a bit more. But that would be, if I had to put something forward to your question of, is there a reason Noah-Lynn couldn't do it tonight? That would be something that would need to improve.
100.
But the combination shooting this week has been really good, hasn't it?
Oh, fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. Plenty of ton plus checkouts, sort of those finishes that change a game, the 72, 74s.
96.
They've been going out with no problem.
They're both employing a very upright angle of attack.
40.
And Timothy doing it with that extended little finger, which is perpendicular to the floor at all times.
99.
Almost like it's an American mailbox. It's quite a deep drawback towards the right collarbone, but it works.
180.
That's a nice shirt, isn't it?
Oh, I think that's possibly the best shirt in darts at the moment. I just love the
87.
colours and
To the car,
the test card
121.
design, the vibrations running through the shirt.
Bullseye. That would have been rather
96.
beautiful.
Nolan, your car 120.
And Noah Lynn has had some good combos, like we've mentioned this week. But this is not going to be one of them. It could well be 2-0 Timothy, which has got a bit of a ring to it as well. 88 for him.
9.
He had a beautiful marker, but he
Nolan,
couldn't
your
use
car
it.
20.
Well, in leg number 1, it felt like Noah Lynn Vanluven let Timothy off with the missed doubles, and he stepped in and took the opportunity. Can Noah Lynn return? And
15.
that weakness just
Timothy
continues to
O'Connor,
show. 3
16.
darts in hand. And another miss. That's 7 in total now for Noah Lynn Vanluven.
Nothing is guaranteed on a Saturday night.
8. Nolan, your car 5.
Even things that look as simple as hitting 88 with 3 darts. And
No
that is
score.
nowhere
Timothy
near
O'Connor, 8.
simple. Getting that single one is always very difficult when you're under pressure. And she might be more under pressure now. If Timothy can find double 4, which he
Game shot on the
does,
second
courtesy
leg.
of a wonderful
Timothy
couple of
O'Connor.
guides.
When Timothy got here at the start of the week,
Third
he had
leg
1
of
goal.
Nolan to throw first.
And that was to do better than
Game
when he
on.
was last here, which that's what you want to do every time. You want to be making those levels of progression. Last time he was here, he finished 5th in a group. So just by getting
58.
to Saturday night, he's already exceeded his expectations. But at 2-0 up, I wonder at what point the mind starts thinking, I don't just want to be here on
60.
Saturday. It's semi-final. Just tick him off job by job, because I'm sure that's what he's doing right now, because this exceeds what he would have hoped at the beginning of the week. Then it's semi-finals, final. Could he win the week?
180.
Very timely, that 180. Needs something to start happening here. It's got to be coupled with
100.
finding that first double of the night. Got to try and take the stress out of this game, and the only way I can see that happening is if Nolan wins the next 3 legs.
40.
The only upside for Jim McEwen losing 4-2 is that he lost 4-2. He didn't lose 4-1 or 4-0.
81.
It was the exact thing we alluded to before a dart was thrown, wasn't it? If you're going to lose this opening game, you've got to get legs on the board.
99.
Things have changed in this series for some people. Take Ross Montgomery, for instance. He'd made a couple of Saturday nights in previous series, but didn't win a match.
108.
And then he made his way to the semi-finals a couple of weeks ago. This is a big moment. But it's not going to be a shot at the bullseye. Nothing seems to be going right at the end of legs for Noah Lynn.
92.
And Timothy
80.
has already got an 80 checkout in this match on double 10.
75.
What a chance that was.
Nolan, your car 32.
But he'll have in the back of his mind the fact that Noah Lynn has been yet to hit a double in this game despite 7 darts at the outer ring. And they just continue to add up.
Game shot on the third leg.
A little bit of gumption there from Noah Lynn, but I guarantee you one thing. The exhalation there was 100% relief. Because if that does not go in, that double 8, the likelihood is it's 3-0 down. And you know what she's going to have to do from there. This is a more doable situation now. Well, now that double 8 has been found.
And what experience this is
85.
for Noah Lynn as well, making the debut here at the World Match Play. Because I've just merged 2 conversations into one there. Let me start that again.
60.
make a debut here at the Super Series with a match play on the horizon.
If we may divert for just a few seconds, what do you think the biggest story is
95.
going into the women's match play this year?
Take your pick, I think, is the story for me, because I think in previous years, first year it was the Fallon and Lisa show.
60.
The second year was Can Anyone Stop Bo? Where this year it's take your pick. We could talk about the rediscovery of form of Lisa Ashton, who's picking up titles as of
43.
recently. Mikuru Suzuki coming back to the forefront again. Can Bo defend the title? Can Fallon get it back? More questions than ever, which leads us to an exciting tournament.
121.
I think there's something in that tournament that nobody's talking about, which needs to be mentioned. The return to a big stage of Anastasia.
140.
I am thrilled for Anastasia after everything she's been through the last few years. I am ecstatic for her. Timothy's going to be ecstatic with that.
180. Nolan, your car, 138.
Big ask to get level. Too big an ask. However, Brewer has had
66.
a bit of a love-hate relationship with the doubles in this match. He's missed 10 of them. Does he miss double 10 again? He's getting further away.
10.
That looked edgy.
Nolan, your car, 72.
You mentioned it, Matt. Shots like this, they've been at Nolan's mercy this week.
I think my example even was 72.
40. Timothy car, 10.
Sometimes as a dart player, you just can't hide the pain. Will there be more? But that really is a shaky second
5.
dart. And the third
Nolan,
one
your
was even
car,
more
32.
shaky.
Yeah, a lot of nerves on display here. It can be understandable as well. Something that neither player has played in this deep into the Super Series as of yet.
No score. Timothy, your car, 5.
That is now 13 darts at double missed in this match for Nolan. Double 2 for Timothy. Oh, what an assist at the front post as Timothy takes a 3-1 lead. And I get the feeling that Neil Duff in the practice room was looking at this thinking, I feel more comfortable than you guys do here tonight. And he will feel very confident of winning this group. He's not even thrown a dart yet.
Oh, absolutely. Neil Duff will be loving everything he's seeing here, because he'll be seeing a lot of nerves and edginess on display. And
24.
with that, you just, when you're playing someone, you can sort of expect a mistake or a slip here or there, because the players are sort of averaging mid-70s at the moment. And that's despite having 5 180s so far in this game, 4 of which have been hit by Timothy.
60.
180s for sure, and he's had plenty of chances to get some dough.
140.
That ladies' match play is just around the corner. 2 weeks tomorrow. Not long at all to get prepared for one of the biggest events in the women's game all year. And in the first round, it will be Mikuru Suzuki.
89.
Not an easy fixture, but then again, there are no easy fixtures when it comes to the women's match play. There's only 8 players in it. But that tournament is so far to the back of her
59.
mind right now,
Nolan, your car,
because
134.
she's thinking, I just want to win the next 3 legs and get 2 points on the board in Group 2.
94.
Plenty of time for Noah Lynn. But we just won from 14
75.
on the outer ring.
Nolan, your car, 40.
Time may be required.
30.
More misses, giving us 4 hits at double in this match from 36 darts. Is it a coincidence that we're getting this from 2
56.
debutants on a
Nolan, your
Saturday
car,
night?
10.
I don't think so.
Game shot on the fifth
That's
leg.
better. You just don't know how
Nolan Van
valuable
Luven.
that's going to be. Even if Nolan Vanluven doesn't win this match, winning that leg
6
could be
leg, Timothy
crucial.
to throw first. Game on.
But I, before a dart was thrown tonight, thought that this would be a shootout. I can see Neil Duff winning both of his games against Nolan and Timothy
45.
based on form and experience. I personally thought whoever wins this match will join Duff in the next set of fixtures in the semi-finals.
I think experience is the key word, because what we're doing here is we're seeing what a lack of experience can do. Just makes it a little bit inconsistent. But when one player hits, you tend to find that you go with it. The inexperience tends to only come when it gets a bit scrappy, when you're looking and reading the play and looking for the opportunities and the openings.
Sometimes statistics can tell you an awful lot in the way of fibs.
123.
The Brewer is averaging 74 in this game, and he's had 5 maximums, which tells you an awful lot about his doubling
99. To the car,
and,
53.
on the whole, his 2 treble shooting, which has been non-existent. But this is a match-winning chance. If he'd hit that 153, that would have been the ultimate irony, considering his finishing prowess.
And there's that number again, 72. For the third time, it's reared its head at an important time.
Just checking the position, which means it's got to be 14 ball. Or that? That was audacious. That caught everybody off guard. I haven't seen that since the great Eric Claris. Double top to extend the game after a missed match dart from Timothy.
35.
And the nerves get the better of Nolan. For 2 points on the board. The game belongs to Timothy, and Nolan is in trouble in Group 2. She's going to have to beat a world champion a little bit later on in game number 6. Otherwise, it will be an early exit for her. But Timothy, somehow with a 72 average and those 5 maximums, has found his way into a strong position in Group 2. We'll take a short break now, but when we come back, Terry Nash is coming back, and the Boss Baby can win Group 1 if he beats a certain John Worsley.
Hang on a minute. Wow! Oh my God! Well, that's £100 down the drain already. Itching to hit the 180. He's gone for the maximum. 18 for the bull. Bull.
53.
No, he said bull. That's a great first start from Adam. Oh, look at this. He's going to leave Scape.
Oh, can you believe it? That is unbelievable. Get match darts to put his team into the final. And through to the final they go. Charlie Murphy has hit the match-winning dart on both occasions. Double 4 for the title.
Please show your appreciation for the winner of the Influencer Pairs event, George Scaife and Adam Lipscomb.
He seems to be out, that's what he is, Charlie Murphy. A couple more visits yet. We're not going to need that.
Bosh.
Pie Face is through. He gets
And he's absolutely buzzing. It was a game that Five-Face dominated throughout.
Fancy it after that first start. And what a way to finish the game, John Worsley. And with darts like that, he would have every chance of winning the week. Well, it seems to be working. This would be some start. It's double 10 for an absolute beauty. Well, I think John Worsley was winding me up earlier when he said he hasn't been practicing, because that's a 12-darter opener.
Welcome back, right in the heat of the summer of sport, and quite fitting that on Wimbledon week, the Womble is in the building here at the Modus Super Series. More of a ferret these days, though. He's shed 5 stone in weight, and he wasn't sure if his darts would still be thrown with the same vigour that he managed in getting to 6 out of 6 finals nights previously, but it hasn't done him any damage. He has made it again. However, he takes on Terry Nash, who's already won a match this evening. Boss baby, looking to boss Group 1, and he only needs 3 legs to ensure qualification. That's after a 4-2 win over Jim Mchuan in his first match. A semi-final spot will go to Nash if he does get those 3 legs. As for John Worsley, if he manages the whitewash in this one, then he will be through himself with a game to spare. I'll hand you back to Paul Nicholson and Matthew Edgar.
Yeah, thanks, Murph. I'm looking forward to seeing John Worsley play here. He's obviously been working out in Gezi Price's gym and been going to Steve Beaton's tanning studio.
Game on.
But he's the first person that I can recollect who's wearing a dart shirt emblazoned in the Modus Super Series. You know how people, when they play Premier League or go on the Euro Tour or at the big majors, they have the name of the major on it or the name of the tournament. This guy has taken it to the next level. He's got a personalised Modus Super Series shirt.
Doesn't he do shirt designs, though, doesn't he?
He does. He's a collector. He's a maker of dart shirts. He's a bit of a savant.
97.
That's rather good, isn't it?
Some of that
81.
I was asked earlier on in the week, and I gave my opinion on. I wonder what yours is as well, Paul, in regard to the timing of Terry Nash's appearance here at the Super Series,
94.
because you saw on the graphic there the Six Nations, the event as his career best. That was just last weekend when he won for Wales. How valuable is that, and how much has that helped him get through to Saturday tonight?
I think it's been invaluable. I think when you've been in a pressure situation in the last few days, going into another one doesn't feel as daunting, and it feels as if you're more comfortable with an uncomfortable situation than you were previously. And now you know firsthand, with fresh memories, that you can succeed
26.
in those scenarios.
150.
Gives you that belief and that trust, doesn't it, that you can bail yourself out of a situation. You don't panic, because if you remember in his opening game against Jim McEwen, the first couple of legs, he got nowhere near the McEwen throat.
He does have the darts in this contest, and for that reason he is more likely to win this match than lose it. It's going to be tops for Terry. Very, very clinical. And you heard what Chris Murphy said. 3 legs will be enough for Nashy.
Game on.
And he will be the boss of group number 1 if he beats John Worsley, and that would line up a shootout between 2 former weekly winners. And indeed, we take it another step further, it will be a weekly winner against a series winner just to make the semis. He's got a bit of extra pep in his step, and he's got an extra bit of focus in the eyes. Terry Nash is here to play.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with Terry Nash this week. He was decent last time he was here, but he's took a step forward. Just like Timothy, we saw pick up a 4-2 win over Noah Lynn Vanluven in the last game.
50.
Players that sort of come here, play, go away, work on what they've done. You say it all the time when you see people, I would like to see him again. Well, these are just really sort of franking and supporting that sort of thought pattern.
59.
You think about some of the debutants that we've had here in week 5. Daniel Stevenson in Group C over the last couple of days.
81.
Invaluable experience for someone so young. Or even someone like Paul Lewis. I think he was very good. But he could find himself in the scenario of Terry Nash if he was to return
57.
in Series 9, having that invaluable experience in the bank.
Big 180 hitter as well, he was, Paul Lewis. You'd have loved him. He was right up your sort of
60.
street. A tribute singer to 80s bands, and he's in his own band called Two Aces.
That's quite a nice play on words.
55.
This could be a nice play on numbers.
130.
He's almost there. Doesn't have to go 20 in bolt, and that's why he didn't. Based on previous behaviours, this is going to be a 12.
90.
He looks so confident.
Same can't really be said for John Worsley, and that was the concern when we was discussing the odds at the start of the show, and John Worsley was the second favourite. I think the issue is if you ask John Worsley, he wouldn't have said he was the second favourite for the night, and if he doesn't believe it, it's hard to buy into that fact.
30.
Oh,
John
no.
McCart, 87.
3 missed darts at a double. Could be costly. As the man from Chepstow is eyeing up 20 in bolt.
62.
Almost there, but
John McCart, 10.
not enough. That's
Being
enough.
shot on the second leg.
That's a
Terry
break of
Nash.
throw, and now Terry Nash only needs one more leg to be in the semi-finals, but
Third leg,
2
Terry
more
is
in this
first.
game
Game on.
will win the group and give him the darts in the semi-finals. And semi-final 1 as well.
The
100.
darts can be absolutely vital as well in those semi-finals. The format stays the same all the way through, just best of 7. Short format games. And we've seen it all week. So many games going
95.
4-3. In that scenario, the throw becomes huge.
45.
It's a bit of a jerky action that Terry has sometimes, isn't it? That right shoulder does engage.
I tend to find it's when he doesn't throw with as much pace in the throw. When he just gets in this rhythm and everything's going so quick,
85.
it's when he just tries being a little bit more deliberate.
We don't have enough Terrys in the world anymore, do we, Matt? We've got Terry Jenkins, who's one of our closest friends in darts. A wonderful man who knows how to buy things and sell them for profits. Rather remarkable dart player.
100.
But there aren't enough Terrys anymore.
Are you just letting us know the name reveal for your future son?
131.
I was thinking more along the lines of future pet. I think Terry would be a great name for a dog or a parrot.
41. Terry McCart, 100.
Well, in this game, John Worsley has only had 1 dart at a double.
Game
And
shot
that
on the
dart
third
at a
leg.
double
Terry
ensures
Nash.
that Terry Nash is through. Everything is going his
Four legs
way.
on to through first. Game on.
It's just a question of whether Terry Nash can get that extra leg now to win the group.
A clinch and a fist from Terry, a fist bump between himself and Worsley. Is that well done, you've just hit the tumblers checkout, or is that well done, you're through and we know it?
Worsley knows. He's been here on Saturdays many, many times.
140.
He knows every intricacy of a week like this. But he also knows something else, doesn't he? That he's got a double chance of getting through.
82.
He could have won this game 4-0 to get through immediately. However, he knows that if he lost the match to Terry, it's a straight
41.
shootout with Chucky. That's why he's not showing a great deal of stress in this game, because he knows that it's still in his hands.
Sort of like a freebie shot, really, isn't it?
180.
And he's starting to find now 2 maximums for John Worsley in this leg.
We've not been short of maxims here tonight. In fact, every player who has towed the hockey in every match has had one,
121,
at least.
59.
But this is for the best leg of the night.
Game
By
show
quite
on the
some
fourth
distance
leg.
as well.
John Worley.
First leg win of the night for Womble is an 11 darter.
Through first, game on. $41.
I wonder what his training regime has been to lose the weight, because it's obviously not just diet.
Well, I can tell you. You'll see a couple of patches on his shirt, the two white logos there. These are residential training camps that he's been checking himself into. He is going back again. At the end of this week, he's going to be checking himself in for 2 further weeks where you're on site, you're training, you've got trainers and coaches, they sort your food and your plans, and it's all done on site. And he's going back for another 2 weeks because he wants to take a few more stone off yet.
Sounds like great fun. Where do we sign up?
Oh, absolutely. When you're saying, and they sort the meals out for you and everything, look fantastic.
Sounds cheap.
58.
And Nash would love another maximum. He'd love a second. He's not going to get it.
42. Jonathan
Things in this format can
164.
change very quickly. Worsley now has 6 darts from 164 to get things a lot closer than they were at 3-0 Nash.
98.
I can't believe he said he was John Cena, you know, with a name like Nash.
92. Jonathan 66.
Should call him Little Daddy Cool. Double 18 for the Womble.
48.
So this is a chance
86.
for Terry to win Group 1 against the odds. Double 7.
Game shot
And Nashi wins the group. He's guaranteed to have the darts in the semi-finals as well. And he knows exactly when he's going to play, so he can fully prepare for semi-final number 1. And he will take on the person who finishes second in Group 2. And it is Group 2 we're going to go to next. But he's been very consistent here tonight. 40% on the doubles right there. He was roughly that in his first match. And he's got himself an 87 average on top of an 88 in his first game. Very, very consistent. So when we come back, Timothy will be back on the hockey, and we are going to say hello to the 2022 WDF champ. It is Neil Duff.
slightly out of
on the
form
second
and
leg.
running into a
Duff.
very hot Neil Duff.
Entering this 1-2-6 earlier, has to start in the 19s this time. Double six. Well, he saved his best shot right at the end in Neil Duff. Colin McGarry was superb in his demolition of Young Bram.
Yeah, that was...
First load.
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where Neil Duff is on the stage for the first time this evening, and where amateur qualifier Terry Nash has upset the odds and made it through to the semi-finals. He's won Group 1, and Belgium's Timothy Verbrugge can join him if he repeats the Welshman's feat of back-to-back victories tonight. He's already beaten Noah Lynn Vanluven and would qualify as the group winner if he can get the better of Northern Ireland's Duff, who of course ruled the world with his Lakeside win back in 2022. Verbrugge here just needs victory, and he will go through top of the group after getting that comprehensive victory in his first match. As for Neil Duff, well, he's a favourite to get through this group, and he can seal a semi-spot now, but only if he wins this match by 4-0. Talking you through this and all tonight's action, it's back to Matthew Edgar and Paul Nicholson.
Thanks, Murph. Very much looking forward to seeing how Neil gets on tonight. He's got an exceptional record of making Saturdays. But now he's got to utilise his experience against the two newbies on Saturdays in Noah Lynn and Timothy. If he can do that, the semi-finals beckon once again for the 2022 WDF World Champ.
46.
Bit of a permanent fixture in Portsmouth. Neil Duff now spends an awful lot of time here and getting success as well with these snazzy new barrels.
Yeah, that was going to be my first question in regards to Neil Duff. Which darts does he go with? Because we've seen him tinker around a little bit with the tungsten throughout the week, and he's been using these new Neil Duff darts, the
59.
black and gold, which, by the way, I think look absolutely amazing as a dart. Not used that sort of colour scheme too often. But he also uses the Joe Cullen dart. Now, there's not too much difference between the two, but he has been changing quite a bit between, and I always find that's a risky strategy when you're not certain about the darts to bring
95.
both sets, because if it doesn't go well, it's always in the back of your mind that maybe I need the other darts.
I don't think these look too bad, actually.
140.
But if he continues to use these ones, Joe Cullen's going to be livid. Lack of advertisement for the Rockstar at the Modus Super Series. However, if you want to see a little bit of Joe Cullen on this stage, we do have some additional content on our YouTube channel with Johnny Clayton. However, Neil Duff needs double 18. An ideal start. That one is like a Trent Alexander-Arnold penalty right in the top corner.
That was a statement leg, wasn't it? Everything about that. Not just the fact that it was a 12-darter, but the bit of the celebration that actually filled up quite a bit of the stage. It was very wide, expressive. Make sure that Timothy saw it.
You think about Mchuan and Duff as a collective, as Timothy gets his 6th 180 of the night. Think about what they've accomplished. They've done
100.
everything together. If you put what Neil's done and Jim's done together, they have literally done everything that this place could offer.
83.
Double start, A, B, C, weekly, series, the lot. And that's why a lot of people think that they're going to be in the final tonight. However, Jim Mchuan has got to win the next match for that to be the case. But Duffman,
98.
he's got that focus tonight. He cannot wait to get to the hockey.
100.
I'm only going to say it once,
140.
because everybody knows I'm a Simpsons fan. But when he hit that 180, he was saying, "Oh yeah."
100.
That's a lovely ton.
36.
But it's double 18 again.
Game shot on the second
And the top
leg.
left
Neil
corner
Duff.
again for Duffman, who is showing up tonight.
Third leg Timothy to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, fantastic. 12-darter follows it with a 13-darter. Said statement performance from Neil Duff, and well, if you can keep this sort of standard going, you could break the record.
100.
When we were talking in the previous match with Nash and Worley, we talked about Worley knowing what's going on.
100.
Do you think that Duff knows that if he wins 4-0, he's through?
From speaking to Neil Duff, I don't think he cares, to be honest.
100.
I think Neil Duff will purely be looking at this and just going, I need to beat these two. I'm the favourite to beat these two. I should beat these two. I'm just going to win both games.
And that's what he's doing so far. Incredibly effective. And if he doesn't succeed tonight,
91.
Look on the bright side, Neil. I'm sure the manager of Monaco Football Club will get you off the bench with that strip on.
85.
What is it about Saturday nights and big-time stuff that switches Neil into a different gear?
He said it himself. He's very well aware of it. He said in his interview at the end of the
82.
session after winning the group that Saturday night's when he comes alive, and Saturday night's the most important thing. And I suppose what you mentioned earlier on, the groups are just a vehicle until this moment. And this is the time to bring your best. And this is the very best. And he's going to get a shot here for another 13 dart leg. It's gone 12, 13.
Near the car, 40. ...
15.
Third leg. Neil Duff.
He's in the mood. Not for dancing,
Fourth
but
leg,
for
Neil Duff
darting.
first. Game on.
He has got Timothy on the rack. I know how things can change on a Saturday night. Because if
134.
Duffman does win this game by 4-0, which at the minute looks very likely. Unless Timothy's got something left in the locker. Because this might be the last leg he plays here tonight. You just never know. But there is a situation where if Duff wins 4-0,
125.
Nolan then beats Duff, she would qualify with him.
100.
I think the argument of whether to use the Cullen darts or these
92.
darts. Do I need to get the gavel out? Use these ones.
I think any time he switches back to the Cullen darts, his friends should show him this match. They should have it recorded. He may be about to record the victory.
Oh my. That would have been something extraterrestrial. He's averaging nearly 115 and he's missed 3 darts at a double.
95. Neil Duff, 18.
He's missed another couple. So Timothy is
10.
still in
Timothy
this one
87.
by the skin of his teeth. Bullseye for Timothy.
39. Neil Duff, 8.
After missing 3 darts for the match.
Four.
He's now missed 6.
Timothy Duff, 48.
It's not about averages anymore. It's about how he responds to what could happen here as Timothy goes for another 32 approach. But it's not another 32 he needs. It's double 4 for him.
44. Neil Duff,
He's
4.
had chances. But is it curtains? Neil Duff has won this match and he has averaged 100, but it could have been so much better. But the big picture is for the Duff man that he is through after playing 4 legs tonight. 13 darts at a double, hitting 4 of them. You can see that 100 average on a Saturday night is a very, very good thing. Forget about records. Forget about personal bests here. The most important thing is Neil Duff is through. We'll get to the permutations for Timothy and for Nolan Vanluven when it comes to Game 6. But it's going to be Worley against Mchuan next, and it's a shootout.
Well, 4 games down here in the group stages on finals night. We already know 2 of the players that are going to be in the semi-finals. Terry Nash, he'll play in that first semi-final after winning both of his group games. He is through. And Neil Duff also through. Got the 4-0 win he needed against Timothy Verbrewer, who had beaten Nolan Vanluven in the first game of Group 2. So Duff through with a game to spare. Terry Nash through as group winner. Those results also mean that there will not be a 9-dart shootout this evening. I'm sure a few of you are sick of shootouts for one day, but you do have one of sorts here, because whoever wins this match will qualify. It is a straight fight. Early knockout stuff, effectively, between John Worley and Jim Mchuan. Earlier this evening, both of them losing out to Terry Nash. Mchuan, the favourite to win this group, lost 4-2. Worley went down 4-1. So whoever wins this one will join him in qualifying from Group 1. And guiding you through the action, it's back to the asset and prime time. Matthew Edgar.
Of course it's prime time. It's Saturday night. A great night for flighting, as John Worley and Jim Mchuan now do battle to see who joins Terry Nash in the semi-finals. So someone who has won a week, or indeed a series, will be falling at the first hurdle here.
First leg, John to throw first. Game on.
How much of Jim McEwen's advantage of winning Group A is gone, Matthew Edgar, because he doesn't even have the darts in this second game?
There's no advantage now. I'm not even sure there is a real advantage when you win the group, because when you come to
99.
Saturday night, you still only get one game with the darts. And that wasn't a successful one for Jim Mchuan. He ended up losing that by 4 legs to 2 in the opening game to Terry Nash, who has gone on to top the group.
41.
But one shot in, frustration for Jim. And is that what we've just been talking about at the very start of the show, when you've got that long gap between
60.
when that result happens and coming back to the stage? Has he just been sat in the back just stewing on it? Maybe even getting into that horrible habit where you go to the board and you go, well, I missed tops, so I'm going to practice tops. And you just remind yourself of the problem over and over
100.
again.
Well, if I may, I would say that if you win Group A and you get Game 1 and Game 5 as part of the schedule, I think that's tough.
85.
And if you win Group B and you're in Nolan Vanluven's position, you get Game 2 and Game 6. Very, very similar. You do have those 3 games off. In a strange way,
125.
I would rather be in Terry Nash's position or John Worsley's.
I would prefer to be in John Worsley's, because John Worsley went into that game with Terry Nash
59.
knowing if he lost, he still had this opportunity. He had 2 chances. And a lot of the time, you don't know that you've got those 2 opportunities, but you're doing that position. You know you've got 2 lives.
And no
100.
player at any point over the last 22 months since we came here on September 3rd, 2022, has ever played for position in the schedule on a Saturday night. They play
138.
to be as high as possible, to be as confident as possible. This shot is off now for Chucky, but the one that John Worsley's got now, this is very gettable.
45.
Because he gets his darts to lie quite flat.
60.
This will not be in the way of tops. See? That could be a decent marker.
40.
That one kicked
Jimmy
over a little
90.
bit. But it wasn't a good third shot.
Double 15 for McEwen to get the breaker throw. Worsley survives a couple of break darts.
Game shot on the first leg. John Worley.
With authority as well. I think you can say a lot of things about John that have authority. That extension of the right arm, sometimes it's so clinical, it gives me the heebie-jeebies, because it's a full extension of the arm. I wouldn't want to be his right elbow. But it is an action that he has
66.
cultivated over years to very good effect. Chucky is in trouble. And he was at the start of this match, but now it's even worse.
60.
Yeah, if it was very sort of idle with the analysis of that opening game and looked at the average of John Worsley and see he averaged 90, I think he played well, but that was just really boosted by that one good leg when he went out with 11 darts, hit a couple of 180s in there, and that sort of really boosted what was sort of a low 80s performance for Worsley throughout the majority of it.
Yeah, very accurate. In fact, the second biggest average of the night, behind that of Neil Duff in the previous game. But sometimes the averages do lie. We've seen people have tremendous statistics on a daily basis. But it doesn't tell you everything you need to know. Sometimes you've got to dig a little deeper. And I do have a thought process when it comes to John Worsley, that sometimes he's just a little too stubborn on the treble 20 when he's above it with the first dart. I think that's what he's got to do a bit more.
Well, one of the things you mentioned to me the other day is since he's been training and he's lost the weight and the balance and everything's changed for 59. John Worsley, that actually his darts are behaving differently. And sometimes he's actually noticing the darts actually sticking a little bit more upright in the board. So maybe that adaptation has almost been enforced into his game.
96.
Makes sense to me. And you and I were having a conversation earlier tonight about the type of training that is ideal for a dart player. Things like dumbbells, barbells, not necessarily the best things to use. Things like cables, pulleys, and resistance bands. Definitely, in my opinion, what dart players should be using for longevity.
29. Mchuan, 58.
Oh, he's missed a big number. Will only get one dart at tops, his favourite double. Should have been two.
He's missed it every time he's gone for it. And every shot's been low.
Just not been quite at the races, Jim McEwen. This is more like the Jim McEwen of Monday and Tuesday rather than the one of Wednesday. But you're all getting a bit wayward.
Well, well, well. This will be a bit salty if he finds double three.
76.
He was not expecting to get a shot at double three in that combination at all. Maybe that's one of the reasons why he missed it by such a distance. Jim is not close to that double 10. This is a key shot.
15.
He's cutting a very disconsolate figure. No hesitation. Straight in and a 2-0 lead for Womble. The Womble nickname? We've known John a long time. I've never even asked him.
See, I got to the bottom of this and now I can't remember why.
He's not from Wimbledon.
39.
He's from Chepstow. Wrong sport. Wrong town. Wrong country.
Do Wombles hoard things? I seem to think it's something to do with a story like that.
81.
You're trying to say he's a hoarder. He does hoard dart shirts. He has got one of the best collections, I believe, in the world.
Well, we do have about 1,500 people joining us
40.
on YouTube. Thank you for your company this evening. If you can help us out and you do know John Worsley and the reason as to why they nicknamed the Womble, please do put it in the YouTube chat.
96.
It's not a good effort in the first 6 here from John. In fact, I'd have to go a little bit further than that and say it's rather dismal.
47.
He's only on 375 after 9. He would want to be more than 200 points better off than that. Just a reminder, if you're just joining us, this is a shootout match in Game 5. Whoever wins it
140.
will go through in Group 1 with Terry Nash, but will go through in position number 2 and will not have the darts in the semi-finals. Whoever loses is gone.
100.
You know how we always say that we have 101 matches that are group phase in the course of a Super Series week? Slightly misleading, really, because sometimes the knockout matches come a little early.
84.
There's very little rhythm in this game, but at least Mchuan's going to get a chance to get his first leg in this match. Feels like he's been chasing all night long.
100. Jim Nicol, 100.
Well, John Worley is experienced enough and played on the Pro Tour to know that that last dart should have been at the ball.
It gives Mchuan a little bit of comfort knowing that 3 single 20s would have left him tops, but it's another missed single from Jim. If you're leaving 175 instead of 170 because you don't go for the ball with the last dart,
59.
that's just bad
Jim Nicol,
tactics.
55.
Or a little bit of bad board management, let's put it that way. Double top for Jim. Again, it's low. Double 10 bails him out. But if he's going to win tonight, that tops has got to start cooperating.
4-5 Jim to throw first. Game on.
I wouldn't say he looks too happy about that, though. Still just looks a little bit disconnected.
Sometimes it's really difficult to get your rhythm when you're playing Jim. We all know he's a bit deliberate. Borderline slow, but some players need that time to think their way through every dart. I mean, look at John. He's not the fastest. He has a robotic process. Very much like the person that he beat in a final a few seasons back, Andy Hamilton.
So trying to fish. I said, hi, Matt. It was John's dad's nickname for him, and he wanted to follow that on. Now, that rings a bell. I remember it was given to him, and I believe it was his dad. So, yeah, I believe that part of the story is absolutely correct. And I'm pretty sure it was something to do with hoarding, which we've also had a comment in here letting us know that Wombles are very notorious for hoarding things. So
yeah, I never used to watch that, so I wouldn't have got that.
Yeah.
100.
That was Blunder who let us know that one. So I think it was Worsley's dad basically calling him a hoarder. I don't think that was the story he was expecting.
140.
I never watched the Wombles. I was more of a raccoons and button moon kind of guy.
Button moon, yes.
Yeah, we're yet to have anybody in darts named after Button Moon, so come on, people. You know what makes sense.
57.
Another 140 here for John Worley would be the ideal ticket. He's not going to get it, but he has got 6 darts from here. If he can polish this off, a 3-1 lead
60.
should give him enough of a chance to get over the line, or at least the chance of doing it. What's he going to do, 19s or 20s?
100. John Nicol, 116.
It's going to be up top first. Can he get past the flight? He's trying the different angle because it's flat. Mchuan does like double 12. And because double top has not been cooperating, he'd love one of the other doubles to do the job. And I think this is going in.
Worsley thinks it was as well. He was nodding along after Jim Mchuan hit the treble 20, but he's not able to get over the line.
74.
Another opportunity for Worsley to get that rebreaker throw.
I just thought with 12s being a little lower than tops that might have been the ideal target for him. However, 27 off that and an extra 7 leave tops for John.
54.
And this time he misses it low. What an opportunity that was to establish a 2-leg cushion. It's double 3 again. But that is not a marker.
4. Jonica 20.
You saw what he thought of that one. He's expecting to be 3-1 down. Is he?
15.
He is not.
Jonica 2.
Not yet. Mchuan chose to leave double 1 instead of going back to double 3, which I think was a very wise play. But it proves not to be the case. The doubles have been his nemesis tonight. He's missed 14 in this match, adding to another 4 missed in the previous game he played. Now he's 3-1 down. Not a classic by any stretch of the imagination. And Mchuan will be bemused at his form tonight compared to what he played Monday to Wednesday.
He looks like a beaten man already, doesn't he, Jim Mchuan? He needs to regroup and regroup fast. And this is something we've seen from Worley throughout the week when he's not felt too comfortable upon the treble 20. He will start down on the 19s and mix it up.
It just goes to show that you don't have to go for the 60s to start a leg. Famously done by other players in the past like Claris and Rasma and Scott, who
62.
has more routes to get 501 to 0 than a satellite navigation system.
Lisa Ashton was doing this the last time she was here as well.
And that's why he's done it. Because sometimes plan B is better than plan A. Plan A now is different. It's get 60. That 4th leg and stroll into the second semi-final, where he would play the winner of Group 2.
Well, I think most England football fans are probably
83.
Singing off that hymn sheet as well at the moment, aren't they? Plan B works better than Plan A.
$59. Jonica 151.
6 starts from here, minimum. That treble 19 starting ploy has been so fruitful. I wouldn't be surprised 59. If he uses it again later. He can amble his way to a match-winning double and make Jim feel sick.
Yeah, they're just thrown with frustration. Darts 2 and 3 thrown by a beaten man.
Just going to keep it nice and simple here. I love this play.
52.
That was a tentative look at the treble 12. But in his own mind, he was thinking, just leave tops. 3 darts in hand.
81.
Be wise, get it done now, and forget about the faff. He goes through. It wasn't a classic knockout match by any stretch of the imagination, but the favourite for the title tonight is out. He has lost to Terry Nash, and he's also lost to John Worley, who did get enough chances at the outer ring, but you can see from Jim's numbers, he had 15 darts at a double and only hit 1. So when he diagnoses what went wrong tonight, he doesn't have to look too far. When we come back, it's a very, very big game for Nolan Vanluven, because if she doesn't win the next match, she will join Jim Mchuan at the exit door.
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where Neil Duff is looking to put the icing on the cake in his group. He's already qualified, but a couple of legs here for Duff would see him top the group. Noelyn Vanluven, the opponent in this one, and she can still go through, but needs to get the better of Neil Duff to do that in this one. If she wins, she joins him in the semi-finals. If Duff gets the job done, then Timothy Verbruwer of Belgium will be advancing. We saw just before the break, Jim Mchuan, the favourite before a dart was thrown tonight, has been outthrown and thrown out of finals night on week 5 of Series 8. We are now going to learn the final name in the final four. Will it be Vanluven, or will it be a player who's not even on the stage in Verbruwer? That situation that is often thrown up here
Thank you, ladies and
on the
gentlemen.
finals night. Paul Hinks gets the game underway. Paul Nicholson and Matthew Edgar will talk you through it.
Here we go then, game number 6 of the night. And like Chris Murphy said, it's all down to Neil Duff as to whether he wins this group, possibly
100.
with legs to spare in this game, Matthew Edgar.
I think for me the story is, does Neil Duff continue with what he was doing in the last game, because that
60.
was exceptional. The doubles at the end let him down, but for the majority of the game was running around an average of 115.
Yeah, just to emphasise what he was doing,
125.
100.2, a very accomplished 4-0 victory against Timothy Verbruwer.
57.
And he missed 9 darts at double for that 100 average. No change of equipment, and why would he? 2 legs
140.
in this match for Duff will win the group. However, it's very simple for Noelyn.
140.
She must beat Neil Duff. That's it. Doesn't have to be by a margin, it just has to be a victory to make her way through to her first semi-final here on a Saturday night
96.
in Portsmouth.
That's not going to be an easy task though, is it? 'Cause Neil Duff inspired form tonight once again, just needing 12 darts to get down to a single dart outshot.
40.
Second 180 of the night for Noah.
Getting shot on the first leg, Neil Duff.
And in a flash, Neil Duff is within 1 leg of winning the group and
Second
having the
leg, Nolan to
darts
throw first.
against John
Game on.
Worsley in semi-final 2. That's exactly what you do when your opponent hits a maximum against you.
60.
Just get rid of the leg immediately. He's honestly playing like he's got a bus to catch.
Sort of around that area, isn't he? Like
60.
12 to 15 darts has been sort of the block where Neil Duff has been seeing out legs. An average of 100 in the last game,
57.
and it felt like it was kind of understated at 100.
You notice what Neil Duff's got on his feet as well?
Shoes.
100.
More specifically.
Socks.
He's got those fancy shoes on, hasn't
60.
he? Made famous by Mr. Littler and Mr. Aspinall and Ms. Greaves.
Well, the way they're playing and the way
100.
Neil's playing, I might need to order a pair.
The way that this shoe brand has been made famous by dart players, I wouldn't be surprised if said shoe brand
97.
would sponsor a tournament. They're getting that much in the way of sales, but they really are a very sparkly pair, which match the darts, I might add. And if you think that's an
85.
accident, think again.
Just needs to get the black and gold shirt now, doesn't he? I don't know if that's a colour scheme used by many, really, is it?
85. Neil Duff,
I wouldn't be surprised if he's got one. Well, that was a really difficult second dart.
45.
As soon as Neil hits
Nolan,
that
your car,
bottom
142.
or misses just short right, everything gets more difficult on the bed. But this is double 11.
120.
Not another
Neil
big
Duff, car,
combination for Nolan.
111.
But if this combo goes, Duff is the group winner.
51. Nolan, your car, 22.
Without hesitation,
Getting
that is an
second leg.
equaliser for Nolan.
Vanluven.
Every
So like
world-class
Neil
dart
Duff
player
first,
loves
game
double
on.
11 because of the position of it. They just don't like the fact that it is an odd number. How do you feel about double 11, Matt?
Love it. Absolutely love it. It's probably my favourite double on the entire board. Like I say, it's a great position. You just got to get that one line correct. It was
42.
always one that you'd recommend people who they're playing like double start leagues. Start down that side. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? If you put the numbers in different places,
83.
would people then change the routes that they go?
Of course they would. And if they say different, they're telling fibs. Wonderful. Great grouping, that. I thought the 180 was possible there, but not in that spot.
98.
No flinching from Duff, though. He'll be looking for a maximum of his own to get himself
43.
on tops to be the group winner. Now that Mchuan is out, do you think
100.
Neil Duff smells blood?
I think he did beforehand as well, but I think the real interesting thing here is Scott Taylor was the original favourite to win the week. He's gone.
120.
Then McEwen becomes favourite. He's gone. Sort of, you don't want to be the favourite this week.
44. Nolan Yukan, 96.
You're trying to say that the dart players are playing like England because they were the favourite for Euro 2024. We've seen this before from Nolan
56.
on a 94
Neil
earlier
Yukan,
this week.
76.
But that close to denying Neil Duff an opportunity to win the group with legs to spare. He goes for tops.
56. Nolan Yukan, 40.
To be in the lead. To be in with a chance. The doubles have got to be more polished.
30.
And they aren't.
Neil Yukan, 20.
You don't tend to get away with those sort of misses against a player like Neil Duff on a night like this.
This is a nightmare shot.
No score. Nolan
I
Yukan,
admire him for
10.
getting so close because his darts do kick left. That was a very difficult out. Two fives. Do we have a new leader in this match? We
Shot
do.
on the third leg.
Expertly
Nolan
used that guide.
Vanluven.
Two more legs. And Timothy
Fourth leg, Nolan to through first.
will see the exit door instead of Noah Lynn.
Game on.
You just got to break a throw like that. You want to kick off with something. You
58.
want to make sure you don't do that. You don't want a trebleless visit and invite your opponent straight back into the game.
I know that Nolan has been going through new
95.
experiences in the last few months. Winning a Challenge Tour event. Becoming a winner on the Women's Series as well. In order to feel
134.
comfortable in winning in these kinds of arenas, what I'm seeing first is that
95.
she has to gain that experience before getting success. This is a very truncated way of doing that. 2 days of qualifying for Saturday night, only 8 games.
101.
Whereas before, winning a Challenge Tour event, plenty more games. Women's Series, plenty more games before winning.
95.
Maybe it takes her just a little bit of time to get used to the environment. She's going to have to fast track that if she wants to make the semis.
125.
This is not the same standard that we saw from Neil earlier.
100.
This
Nolan
is
Yukan,
a
83.
beatable standard. 16 for the ball, or that for double 9, and a 2-leg cushion
65.
could have been there.
Yukan, 116.
Can Neil Duff get back to the darts he was showing early on? It's going to be a dart of tops.
96.
He's going to need more than a
Nolan
dart of
Yukan,
tops.
18.
Nolan Vanluven, an opportunity for a 3-1 lead.
He had a couple of chances now. Another bumper.
9.
Missed the marker.
Yellow card 20.
And Duff comes back to double 10 for retribution. Oh,
No
what
score.
a collision!
Nolan, yellow card 9.
That is missed by the finest of margins south
No
of the
score.
bed. And for the
Yellow
second
card,
time
20.
tonight, Nolan has gone for a single one and hit the 60. Surely this time. Neil Duff has won Group 2 and will throw first in the second semi-final. He's going to play against John Worsley.
Game on.
Now it's simple. It's best of 3 to see if Nolan Vanluven will join him into the semis. Otherwise, if Neil Duff wins 2 of the final 3 legs,
95.
it will be Timothy that plays against Terry Nash.
96.
Well, the problem for Noah Lynn Van Leuven is clear to see. Game 1, just 2 hits from 21
28.
attempts at the double, and that's not improved too much here. 2 from 13. A nightly total of just 4 hits from 34 attempts. In terms of a
45.
percentage, that's just 11.
What this situation tonight is starting to prove to everybody who is watching is that when you feel uncomfortable,
45.
you have to still be able to perform. And that's what experience gives you. The ability to learn from how you feel in a pressure situation, and how you respond to that in the future will dictate the success that you get.
140.
I was watching a game the other day, or re-watching a game, Rob Cross versus Taylor. And when you consider that was his first world final, my word, did he handle that situation well as a world final greenhorn. But that is a wonderful maximum there from Noah Lynn.
Noah Lynn's now hit more 180s than doubles.
Game shot on the 5th leg. Nolan Van
It's
Leuven.
still possible. She has to win this next leg or the leg
6th
after
leg,
that.
Nolan to throw first.
And in her first week at the Modus Super Series, she will be in the semi-finals.
Neil Duff is just cutting a bit of a frustrated figure at the back of the stage, and I'm
100.
not surprised, because when you think about how well he played in the opening game compared to this one, it's a drop-off of around about 20 points in regards to averages, but in regards to how clean and how good that game was, and the performance and the reliability, and just that sort of feel that Neil Duff was going to hit everything to
45.
where he is now in this game.
She's just jumping on that third dart. Hence, the large miss on the 60.
95.
Being out of position on dart 3 is very common in this sport, even at the top level. Nothing wrong with those 2, but she was leaning on dart 3. It finds the target on this occasion, but it's up to Neil Duff to get to the finish first.
99.
And he does, but it's a difficult one. I am sure Timothy Verbruer right now cannot look, because another maximum for Noah Lynn sets up 36, which will be a qualifying shot.
100.
6th maximum of the night, and probably the best timed.
4 in this game. And 1 more double for the semi-finals. Double 9 gets Noah Lynn Van Leuven into the semi-finals with Neil Duff. That might be a match that you could see again later on in the final, because Duff wins the group, Noah Lynn makes the semi-finals on debut, and she's going to stay on the board. She's going to play against Terry Nash in the first semi-final, which will follow after this. That's what you've just seen, a really good improvement in form on the average and the maximums and the 140s for Noah Lynn. So she goes through, as does Duff.
Well, Paul Nicholson's joined me to analyse what's happened so far. And Paul, it's been a bit of a bizarre night so far, hasn't it? We've seen the favourite go out and a player who won convincingly in his first match also go out later on.
Yeah, it has been a bit strange at times, but an interesting dynamic going through, because with Jim Mchuan out now, somebody had to step up in Group 1, and that was Terry Nash. He'll be thrilled with the way he's played. Very consistent, 2 performances that were very similar to each other, and you get the feeling that there may be another gear. You might need it as well, because what we've seen from Nolan in that game with Neil Duff, it was just a bit of proof that maybe she could be dangerous. That level was starting to be found towards the end.
Confirmation of the results from the group games then, as Paul just alluded to, Terry Nash winning both of the first 2 matches, feet up since then. It's 2 Welshmen going through from Group 1, with John Worley joining him after beating Jim Mchuan. And then Timothy Verbruwer getting that 4-2 victory against Nolan Vanluven, but then made to pay for the 4-0 defeat against Neil Duff after she managed to get the better of the former world champion.
So much for having the darts, of course, in group number 2, because everybody won against the throw. So maybe it's not as much of an advantage as we thought. However, I think the way that Nolan was able to improve from game 1 to game 2, maybe not on the doubles because they were still a bit sketchy. The 180s came at vital times just to give her that little bit of freedom. But Neil Duff will be really frustrated that his first game was so good and the second game was just a bit sketchy. He'll be telling himself off right now, but right now we could have a story, because Nolan going through to the semis gives her a great chance of making the final.
Yeah, we know that she's capable. Neil Duff goes through. He did the damage in the first match, didn't he? And you were talking about with Matt whether he would know the situation during that game, but when you win your first game 4-0, it might be a little bit more difficult to keep that intensity going.
Yeah, I think that's true. And his performance was so brilliant in the first 3 legs. And he was on for a personal best average here at the Modus Super Series. He wouldn't have known that. But when he walked away from that 4-0 victory against Timothy, he looked disappointed.
Yeah, with the 100 average.
Exactly. So it just goes to show that some performances, you walk away and you somewhat reflect on it. That was a good performance. 100 average, doubles were good. But you have to look at what happened in the match to see, how someone would feel about it. And when your average has gone down by 15 points, you can see the disappointment in Duffman, because he knew that could have been something extra special. But look at the glass half full, because now you've won the group. Now you've got the destiny of this whole thing in your own hands.
Terry Nash, following this script that we've seen recently of these relatively unknown amateur qualifiers turning up, getting to finals night, and then actually doing quite well when they are here.
And Terry may be playing with less pressure than some other people. He's had some real impetus tonight. He started pretty good against Jim McHugh, he got better as the game went on, and he carried on when he played Worsley. He was never in trouble in that match, and he's a very dangerous player. When he was here for the very first time, you and I were sitting with each other, and we were trying to gather information through our YouTube chat and from other sources, and people were saying to us quite quietly, you might want to watch out for him, because when he gets comfortable, he can score heavily. I think we're starting to see that.
Certainly did that. Is the player going through with the least confidence then John Worsley? Because that game against Jim McHugh, he won it. It wasn't pretty though, was it?
He made the fewest mistakes, especially on the outer ring. So I think, to answer your question, you're absolutely bang on. He won't be feeling great about his game going into the semi-finals, but you'd much rather be in the semis with a chance than playing extraordinarily well and not going through. Just look at Jeff Smith a few weeks ago. Averaged close to 100 for his group games and wasn't even in the semi-finals. So it's weird how things work sometimes.
Right, we'll preview those semi-finals in just a moment. But first, time to tell you about something that's coming up at the end of this series. It's time to announce what the next specials week will be. And we thought we'd make it a double.
Dart of the bull. Gets the ball. And the 1-2-7 again.
Yeah, we're going to do it all again. Double Trouble went down so well the first time round, Paul, that Neil Duff will get the chance to defend his crown. Could be a busy couple of weeks for him if he wins tonight, Champions Week, and then Double Trouble.
Yeah, just a bit. I've been on my soapbox for years saying that we don't play enough double start darts, so I applaud the Modus Super Series for giving these guys another chance at doing it, because it's a format that has been played for many decades. And it's a great discipline, a great equaliser, especially when we play best of 5. Cutthroat stuff, and we love that here.
Yeah, and it's probably a good job that they have to start and finish on a double, because the quality in that week is incredible. What a lineup. I mean, potentially the best lineup we've seen here.
Where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the world senior champion, John Henderson? Do you want to go with Richie Burnett, who was really, really good here without success against Jimmy Van Schie? But that's someone making a final on debut here at the Modus Super Series. Scott Mitchell, 2015 world champ. You got Robert Thornton, one of the best double start players ever. But for me, I've got to be honest, I think Jeff Smith is a huge threat that week. I think he's someone who loves a different format, whether it's cricket, whether it's master out, whether it's soft tip, steel tip, double start, straight start. He's got everything. And I think he will be a huge threat to someone like Duff, who wants to defend the title.
Certainly will be. That's coming up at the end of this series, straight after the Champions Week, and that's, of course, what the 4 remaining players tonight are trying to get to. So let's have a little word about the semi-finals that are about to go ahead now. Nolan Vanluven taking on Terry Nash. They're practicing behind us right now. Which way is this one going to go?
I've got to have Terry as favourite because he's been more consistent tonight. But if the upward trend of Nolan from game 1 to game 2 carries on to game 3, she might have a great chance. It's going to have to be really, really good from the off. We mentioned that Group 2 has not had someone hold their throw tonight, so I don't think that's going to be any trouble for Nolan, but I just get the feeling that Terry's looked too consistent and too ready.
And in that second semi, I mean, we just spoke about how busy it could be for Neil Duff. Is he, for you, the favourite in that one?
Yeah, I think Duff was my favourite for the night at the start because of his knack of winning on Saturday nights. He just loves doing it. And I think it's a habit that he's got himself into. He looks more likely to win than John. And even though John's been given a horrible route to get to the final, he's got to go through Mchuan and he's got to go through Duff. I just feel that Neil's the kind of player that's going to see this opportunity and take it.
Right, it's time to find out. The semi-finals are about to get underway here at the Super Series. The final 4 fighting it out for a place in the decider, and the first one is ready to go.
Double 7. And Nash wins the group. He's guaranteed to have the darts in the semi-finals as well. Double 9 gets Nolan Vanluven into the semi-finals with Neil Duff.
Knockout stuff at the live lounge from here on in. The semi-finals about to get underway. Terry Nash, well, Paul and Matt were both talking about the fact that maybe he had the perfect preparation tonight, the perfect position with his games close together, but he has had a little bit of time off to prepare for this semi-final. It's probably one of the biggest games of his life. As for Nolan Vanluven, well, she's done fantastic stuff this year. Is she going to add to the Roll of Honour in 2024? She's just played an effective knockout match and straight back on the stage to face the 36-year-old Welshman, Six Nations champion, his career best, nicknamed Boss Baby, and the Duchess looking to knock him out and move into the final herself. So I'll hand you back to the boys in the commentary box. All yours.
Thanks, Murph.
Game on.
And I think you're right. I think from a singles perspective, this could be one of the biggest games that Terry Nash has ever played.
40.
But Matthew Edgar, isn't it interesting that you tend to play the best and most important games of your life when you're
85.
playing well?
And he has been, hasn't he? He's played very well this week. He played very well last week on the international stage as well. And dare I say it, just looking better. When he plays with this pace, he's dangerous. Just 140s, 140s, finishers go. He plays with rhythm and freedom. He takes that little bit of snatchiness out of the throw. Just finds that consistency on the red.
100.
Looking to join Richard Eric Rowlands in Champions Week as well. Wales have been fabulously represented over the last 3 weeks. Richie Burnett making the final last week, but losing out to Jimmy Van Schie. Double 18. An opening 12 darter from Terry Nash. So much for having 3 games off. It's almost like he's had 3 minutes off.
Game on.
Is it going to be Boss Baby's night? I never thought I'd say that in my life.
This is the feel of it, of one of those sort of games where if you was Noah Lynn, you'd just try having a couple of seconds longer at the hockey, just to try and alter the pace that Terry Nash clearly wants to play with right now.
Absolutely. Because he wants to play swiftly. If you get swept up in a Terry tornado, the game could be over before you're comfortable. Look at him go! He's like Johan Blake up there, or should I say, he's like Colin Jackson. The former world record holder at the 110 hurdles.
45.
Terry Nash is going so fast at the minute, he's running through the hurdles.
83.
It's not just quick though, is it? It's brilliant as well. This is a fantastic start from Terry Nash.
It's not just quick, but it's brilliant as well, so it's quilliant.
I'll take it. I like merging words together.
Oh, look at him go. Double top.
93.
Seriously impressive. And this Terry tornado that is on the stage right now, Noah Lynn just cannot live with it.
100. Terry car 20.
He has completed a match this week in around 7 minutes. He might even break 6 if he keeps going this way. This is quick, but like Matthew Edgar said, it's very impressive. 2-0 in the first semi-final. And he is staring down the barrel of a first final here on a Saturday night in Portsmouth.
Well, his friends and his teammates call him the John Cena of the league.
60.
This is a John Cena style performance. A true main event style level of performance from Terry Nash.
81.
Terry is playing so fast and effective right now. He's looking at Noah Lynn Vanluven and treating her like Santino Marella, straight over the top rope with the first blow.
60.
But when you get into this mode as a player and where Terry Nash is at the moment,
60.
There is almost no opponent. He won't even be thinking what Noah Lynn's doing. It won't even come into his thought process. He won't even be aware because he'll just be so in the zone of brilliance that if he continues like that, Noah Lynn essentially is non-effective.
Absolutely. When you are playing this well and so effectively, because that was good thinking, you honestly don't care who you're playing. They are just a player.
93.
They are a canvas
170.
for you to vandalise.
They almost just become a bit irritating that he's keeping away from the hockey a little bit longer.
89 left with 2. Double 16.
92.
I wonder if Noah Lynn is going to get another look at a double in this leg. Because if she doesn't, Terry Nash could be the chairman.
92. Nolan, your car 16.
He's not quite the boss yet of this semi-final.
Getting shot on the third leg.
Skin saver there for Noah Lynn, because if that doesn't go, she's in all sorts of trouble. Look at this performance from Nash. But this is only at roughly the halfway point.
Game on.
That break of throw could be crucial. Just think about how many times you've been in this situation and succeeded. That's what I'd be thinking right now if I were her.
This is impressive from Noah Lynn Vanluven. Terry was hitting with absolutely everything. Racing away with it in the early part. It'd been so easy just to fold and say I ran into one here, but instead Noah Lynn has found an extra gear.
44.
7 maximums tonight so far for Noah Lynn. That's a pretty good effort. considering it's only a maximum of 4 games in the night. And this is only the 3rd one.
Noah Lynn did that at the start of yesterday as well. 4 180s in game number 1 and 4 180s in game number 2.
Somebody's hitting back with a max of their own. Oh, someone's got the guns out. That was a bang-bang moment, wasn't it? From Terry Nash. Mankind or Mick Foley-esque?
45. Tell your car 41.
This bang-bang should be a little bit easier. Single to double. Tops is a double of choice. Smack bang in the middle. 11 data for Terry Nash, who is averaging 110.22.
To get past someone who's playing this well, you may have to have one of the best games you've ever played. That's how good this is. And when someone's averaging 110 on their own throw as well, when they've got the darts at the start, they might be too good to stop.
100.
At the minute, it's a bit like Nolan Vanluven is trying to stop a freight train going 200 miles an hour with a feather.
59.
The race may be run here for Noah Lynn because Terry's got the throw and he's got 70 points as well.
100.
There's literally nothing Noah Lynn can do. Even a maximum here would still be behind the darts.
94.
He should be first to a finish and will be.
100.
He's not slowing down. He wants to get this done in style. When you consider that he's got levels this week,
45.
especially after going
110.
17 double 17 bull, he needs something akin to the bull to finish it.
70.
A first dart for the match to make the final has come and gone in a flash.
We'll get plenty more though, you feel.
140.
All night long, he's been so consistent on the doubles. And he is consistent once again. A stunning performance in the semis. And Boss Baby is within 4 legs of a weekly title now. Look at these for numbers. 106.5 and 50% on the doubles. And considering he's been 4 out of 9, 4 out of 10, and now 4 out of 8, the consistency on the outer ring is why he is the first person into the final. But who will Boss Baby play? You're about to find out.
Welcome to the party in Portsmouth here at the Modus Live Lounge.
They've both got the talent where they just reel off leg after leg and dish out the heavy defeats. And what a way to start the day. We're up and running here on Champions Week with a maximum.
Well, what a way to finish. A 12-dart leg.
Beautiful check out there from Cam Crabtree.
Only needs the one.
Game shot on the second leg. Darius
What were you saying about efficiency?
on the third leg.
Is that the moment that Reece Robinson comes alive in this crucial clash? Looks like he's going to go for it. And it is right next to his favourite double top. And he gets the job done at the earliest possibility. That is Cam Crabtree through.
Case not so. Harrison gets the all-important win.
Game shot on the second leg. Darius Labanowski. Game shot.
Smith, is it a 9? A long time. And that clenched fist.
Game shot.
He gets the job done in the end. He's nodding in total agreement because
game shot on the fourth flag.
Just
Darius
like that.
Labanowski.
only needs the one. There you can see.
That she can unlock at any moment, but that is quality from Harrison. This would be a wake-up.
Welcome to the party in Pompey. should be a good marker for him. And is.
On the mark.
It was a great guide.
On the first leg. Andreas Harrison.
It's a breaker throw for Andreas Harrison.
On the second leg. Dan Crabtree.
Consecutive breaker throw, double 16 is found.
And he does lead. It's not an 11, but it's a beautiful 12, treble 17, which he gets. Bullseye for the win. Absolutely incredible by Andreas Harrison.
He's Andreas Dirty Harrison.
Hello again, welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where Terry Nash is edging closer to what would be a fantastic, maybe the best achievement in his career. That 4-1 win over Nolan Vanluven in the semi-finals puts him through to tonight's decider. He'll take on either Neil Duff or John Worley, who are going to play next. Both of them winning one and losing one of their group games, and both have enjoyed victory on a Saturday night on that stage behind me before. So without further ado, let's get semi-final 2 underway.
Neil Duff has won Group 2 and will throw first in the second semi-final. He goes through. It wasn't a classic knockout match.
Yeah, that second semi about to get underway here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth in the UK. And Neil Duff and John Worley, well, they've kind of had contrasting nights. The same outcome in their groups, but the other way round. This man, the Womble, scurrying out of a hole after losing his opening match, but then getting the better of the favourite, Jim Mchuan, eliminating him to progress to this semi-final showdown with Neil Duff, who got the job done. A 4-0 win against Timothy Verbrewer for the 51-year-old was enough to see him qualify with a game to spare. He was then beaten in his next game against Nolan Vanluven, but still topped the group. Worsley, though, needing to find some of the form he showed on Thursday and Friday night, because he hasn't really shown it yet. Will that change here? Let's find out with Matthew Edgar and Paul Nicholson.
In what other sport do you get Duff man against a Womble? Welcome to darts, everybody, and it's glorious. 2 more matches in week 5 of Series 8. And this is a match I'm sure that a lot of people expected to see tonight, because from previous experiences, they have been here and done it before, but only one can go through to play Boss Baby in the final. This is, without a shadow of a doubt, the week of animated characters.
We mentioned earlier on, does Neil Duff look around and fancy the chances? Well, I've got to say, Terry Nash in the final will be on debut. In terms of on paper, in terms of name, reputation, CV comparison, if this was top trumps, you'd probably say Neil Duff is going to go on to win the title here, but that performance of Terry Nash will have everybody on notice.
24.
You're trying to tell me that John Worsley, in a game of Mystic Warlords of Qatar, would be the Enchanted Bunny? And that maybe Neil Duff is everything but the Enchanted
59.
Bunny? We're going down a rabbit hole of animated characters here. But when you've got a Duff man, a Boss Baby, and a Womble, this is no joke. This is now time to see who is
85.
the chairman of week number 5. But with Nolan Vanluven out now, the Netherlands will not have another representative in Champions Week via week 5.
57.
But at least they've got a team in the Euros semi-finals playing England on Wednesday night. That's the only caveat I can think of for Nolan at the minute.
137.
It's a good start from Neil. He earned the throw via Group 2. I think John Worsley was just happy to be in the semi-finals.
118. Neil the car
Didn't
70.
play that well in the 2 games, but he did find himself 1 victory against Chucky. This is tops.
Game
And it's a 1-0 lead for Duffman.
Second leg, John to throw first. Game on.
For John Worsley, you've got to think, whatever happens here, this has exceeded his expectations and what he would have thought coming into this. He weren't even sure how his darts was going to land in the board. So to be here in the semi-finals and be very competitive, this must be a real positive for John Worsley to really get him back on the practice board.
Do you think this is just additional information,
140.
additional intel into the player that he wants to be in maybe 9 months?
I think this is confirmation for him that he can go and continue the journey
78.
and continue to train and diet and lose the weight, and it's not going to affect his performance to the level maybe he felt it might.
That's wonderful from Duffman.
Right, there was Ella, who is joining us for her 18th birthday. Happy birthday to you, Ella. No better place to spend it than here in the live lounge at the Super Series.
This is relentless.
123.
Looks like we've got the Neil Duff from game 1 back. He's doing very Terry Nash things.
140.
If you look at that performance, there wasn't anything missing really. Double top for Duff.
Game shot on the second leg.
It's just wonderful. Can't get enough of that wonderful Duff.
Third leg, Neil to throw first. Game on.
That 11 darter confirms that maybe the game against Vanluven was a bit of a pit stop on the way to the final, because everything else tonight has been sensational.
There's just a level of focus, isn't there, that you can see with Neil Duff. The head's down, you weren't even looking. We mentioned in the last game with Terry Nash, when you're playing well, there is no opponent. And Neil Duff there wasn't even caring what Jonathan Worsley did, because it's non-effective. It can't stop this level of performance. Neil Duff averaging just shy of 110.
It's not Groundhog Day.
60.
But these performances in the semi-finals, they're just wonderful. Just past Independence Day, which was a couple of days ago.
92.
Worsley is hanging on by 1 fingernail at the minute on a cliff edge. And Duff has got the clippers in his hand.
95. Near the car, 129.
Worsley is maybe thinking of the inevitable here, because they are poles apart when it comes to standard. It's almost the same as the first game that John had tonight. His 91 average is a scoring average. He's not had a dart at a double. And those numbers flatter to deceive.
96. Near the car, 45.
For yet another leg in 5 visits. Or better.
Game shot on the
Absolutely
third leg.
clinical. He's trying to set up a blockbuster final with Boss Baby, Terry Nash. And if they both play this well, it could be one of the best finals I've ever seen, but he's not there yet.
Yeah, Worsley won't take this line down. He'll battle this to the very, very end. You don't spend time on the PDC Pro Tour and learn to roll over.
As Chris Mason used to say, he's not going to roll over and have his belly tickled. Well, have you ever known a dart player do that? I can't really see any dart player doing that.
59.
Maybe the turtle.
The turtle was
140.
the turtle.
That's right. There's turtles like that, don't they? They don't really have a say in the matter when they roll over. just wiggle the legs and say, okay, I'm done.
125.
And John Worsley could be done in as little as 6 darts. Might even be 5. And look at that in the background.
137.
It's an acknowledgement of just how well Neil Duff has played here. If you think that 106.5 was good from Nash in the first semi, this is on par with that. And that could be a parting shot for John.
180. Neil Cat 84.
This for the match and a place in the final.
He is in the final. It's a wonderful display. The average is in excess of that of Terry Nash. And I promise you this, you do not want to miss this final. You've got 2 people at the peak of their powers. One person who's never been in a final before. The other one has been in quite a few. But maybe the best performance he could have hoped for to take care of a very dangerous John Worsley. 97 the average. He didn't even get a dart at a double. So that's what you've just seen. But what are we about to see when it comes to the final for Series 8, Week 5?
Hang on a minute. Wow! Oh my God! Well, that's £100 down the drain already. Itching to hit the 180. He's gone for the maximum.
18 for the bull. Bull.
53.
No, he said bull. That's a great first start from Adam. Oh, look at this. He's going to leave Scape. Oh, can you believe it? That is unbelievable.
Get match darts to put his team into the final. And through to the final they go. Charlie Murphy has hit the match-winning dart on both occasions. Double 4 for the title.
Please show your appreciation for the winner of the Influencer Pairs event, George Scaife and Adam Lipscomb.
He seems to be out. That's what he is, Charlie Murphy. A couple more visits yet. We're not going to need that.
Bosh.
Pie Face is through. He gets
And he's absolutely buzzing.
It was a game that Pie Face dominated throughout.
The final is set then here at the Super Series on week 5. Matthew Egg has been watching the action, and in those semi-finals, 2 fantastic performances.
I didn't think I'd be sat here this quick. It was 2 fantastic performances, 2 very quick performances. Both players well over the 100 average and really putting in a sort of statement performance. Terry Nash went up first, put in that 106, very quick level of performance and great everything. I just can't praise it enough. It was just a fantastic performance. Neil Duff comes up afterwards and raises it to a new level again. This is going to set us up for a brilliant final.
Yeah, absolutely wonderful stuff. We'll remind you what's happened this evening. Maybe the big shock, Jim Mchuan not making it through the group, but that's because Terry Nash was so good. John Worsley then got the better of Jim Mchuan in Group 1 to go through. He's now out, as is Noelyn Vanluven, who beat Neil Duff earlier this evening, but she falls at the semi-final stages. Nash and Duff into the final, and Arguably, well, maybe inarguably, because he's won all 3 of his games, Terry Nash has been the player of the night.
He's been maybe the most surprising player of the night. We don't know what to expect from Terry Nash still. He's still very new to this. So when he's coming into this, he's a debutant here in the final. So you don't know exactly what you're going to get, how he's going to react to things. And actually, he's really took to it very, very well. And if anything, he's become more aggressive within his demeanour. We've seen him speed up in that semi-final where it was just a whirlwind, just straight to the hockey and just firing away quickly and just fearless, dare I say. And going into the final now, he's going to have nothing to fear. He's going up against Neil Duff, who's got a lot of experience, someone he's probably watched win on this stage many times, because Terry Nash does watch this, but he's got his own opportunity now to be a winner here, to get himself into Champions Week, and wow, he's a contender.
Was Neil Duff's performance almost a consequence of Terry Nash's performance the game before, a response to that?
You do get that sometimes. So you can have it where someone goes up first and they put in a performance, you go, I want to show that I can do that as well. But I think it was a response to the defeat to Noah Lynn. Because actually on the start of the night, Neil Duff was fantastic in that opening game. He averaged 100, which I say only averaged 100, because he was running around about the 115 for the majority of that game. Tailed off towards the end. Against Noah Lynn, nothing. It was a poor performance from Neil Duff, and he looked a little bit disconnected at the back of the stage, probably saying, like, why did I play so well in one game and then so poorly in the next? So it was question marks, like, which Neil Duff are we going to get? And we actually got an even better version of Neil Duff in a perfect performance.
I just do want to talk about the couple of players that lost in the semi-finals, because they've had varying experiences this week. John Worley, let's start with him, because he spoke about that weight loss when he got here on Thursday night. Been to those boot camps, has lost a large amount of weight in a small amount of time. What has he learned this week?
He's learnt he can still play the game. You doubt it. I can speak from experience. When you have a little bit of time away from it, or you make changes physically, that when you come here, you're not sure. You're not sure what's going to happen. You're not sure what you've got. And he came here very, very uncertain. But one thing you can leave here knowing he's competitive. And should that invite come in the near future, I'm sure he'd take it again. And that's the thing. He would have wanted to have felt confident enough that he can get out there, play, and still be himself. Because one thing you don't want to be is a shadow of what you was, or be that guy who goes around saying, I used to be good, or I used to be able to do this. And Worsley's certainly not got the personality for someone who wants to live backwards. So he'd be very, very happy that he was competitive, made the semi-finals. He won't be happy now. Right now, we'll be smarting a little bit, but when he gets back and he thinks back over it, semi-finals are a good achievement.
Also talking about Noah Lynn Vanluven, look, everybody knows her journey. Became the first transgender player to play in the Women's World Match Play last year. She's won Women's Series, she's won Challenge Tour. But every time she plays a game of darts, she gets horrendous abuse online. She gets horrendous abuse on social media. We're not going to sit here and pretend it doesn't happen. Our social media team behind the scenes have done fantastically to try and remove that and block the perpetrators. But how much credit goes to her for what she has to put up with just to get on a stage, let alone play well and, you know, get so close to winning?
I don't know if I could do it. That's for sure. And I don't know how many people could. So full credit goes to that, and certainly in regards to the performance we just saw in the semi-finals as well, because amongst all of that was going up against a performance in Terry Nash, who was playing so well, and even then fighting spirit to keep going and to keep in there. And I think that game may be just a full testament to what you're explaining there.
Absolutely. And if you're not aware of her story, do stay tuned to the Modus Super Series YouTube channel and make sure you subscribe, because tomorrow she did do a sit-down interview with the famous Mr. Phil Bars, and you will be able to watch that tomorrow. It's worth a watch. Do watch that. We're going to turn our attention now to next week. Here is who is going to be in action at the Modus Super Series on week 6, and some familiar names, players that have had success here in the past. A famous name there in Whitlock, although it is Mason, Junior Whitlock, who's back for another go. And we have seen recently players that have had one go before and not quite made it actually cross that line and get to finals night in the last few weeks.
We've seen it tonight in Timothy Verbrew, and we continue to see that story, because it is very different when you come here to the Super Series. The conditions are different, it's very professional setup, and some people may not be used to that, and you know, the whole environment, just knowing the layout of the room makes a big difference. But for me, there's a name that actually stands out next week, and David Evans. He's been playing some very good stuff, I think every time he puts a Facebook, I mean, every time David Evans puts a Facebook post up, it's normally glorifying himself. But at the moment, he's backing it up with a few things as well. And he's just signed a manufacturer deal as well, which is going to give him a little bit of a boost as well. So what I know of David Evans, I think all those things are going to be good ingredients to make him an even better player, and he's going to be the one to watch.
Certainly could be. Right, back to tonight, the final, just a few moments away. Neil Duff has won the bull, by the way. Look, I'm not sure how big a part that plays. It's a slight advantage, isn't it? But the way both players have been playing, if they reproduce it, we could be in for a thrilling final.
It's could be a massive advantage, not just a slight advantage, because it's short format, it's same format as it is all the way through, and it's the levels of which they play. When you've just watched two players throw over 100 average and comfortably like they did 106 and 108, you want every little tiny bit of advantage you can have, because one dart could make the difference in this game.
And this guy here, by the way, he said at the start of tonight, he admitted he didn't know, he didn't want to make a prediction. He then inadvertently said, well, Neil Duff and Terry Nash could be playing the finals because of the mind games that Duff's been playing before. Winning that bull and having had that success against Terry earlier in the week, is that perfect for somebody who likes to play those little games backstage?
I would have been on it straight away. I'm well documented. I love a little bit of the mind games. But the second I won that bull, I would have probably just gone, that means you're only getting one leg now. There must have been something there. I would love to know from Neil Duff at the end, if he does win this, was there a comment at that point? But he played it the other day. I'm sure he'll be playing it tonight, because this is the big game.
Right, we'll see how it unfolds. I'll let you head back to comms. The final is about to get underway. It's Duff versus Nash for a place at Champions Week.
And he is consistent once again. A stunning performance in the semis. He is in the final. It's a wonderful display.
This is the decider here at the Modus Super Series. Terry Nash emerging, an amateur qualifier, getting through that ADC system, not making it before to finals night, and then producing some of the best displays that we've seen a player put together on a Saturday night here. Neil Duff, though, well, he managed to trump him with that fantastic display in his semi-final victory. 109 average for the 2022 world champion. The 36-year-old Nash, though, from Wales, looking to be the boss at the end of this battle. Guiding you through the action, then Matthew Edgar has returned to comms to join Paul Nicholson.
Thanks, Murph. Week number 5 has got somebody's name on it, but which name is it going to be? Is it going to be Duffman again? Or is it going to be a first title?
First leg, Neil to throw first.
With fingerprints on that for Nashy. This really has got the same sort of air as 2 weeks ago, as the Welsh underdog goes up against the serial winner who throws first. In that final, Richard Eric Rowlands did not miss a double against Andreas Harrison. Is that going to happen again, Matthew Edgar? Or is the favourite for this final, Neil Duff, going to get another weekly title?
Well, it's not been the week for favourites, has it? If we look at those people that have been fancied runners, I mean, Neil Duff wasn't even first or second favourite to win the night before a dart was thrown, which we did have a bit of an eyebrows-in moment when we saw
100.
Worley and Mchuan ahead of Neil Duff, knowing that Neil Duff's got that experience of winning on that stage. But I do think that that could be a big telling factor, especially that he's just had his second tumbless average of the night in his last game.
Yeah, 98.19 for the night.
66.
10 out of 29 on the doubles, but only 34%. And Terry is better off percentage-wise in that department. He's at 44%, averaging 94.16 for the night. They are almost meeting in the middle.
Notice the pace of Terry Nash is slower.
100.
A little bit more deliberate.
56.
Those darts was out of the hands so quick in that semi-final. This leg could be over so quick.
36.
The one of the finals. Grazes the wire. He's got time on his side.
That double 10 bed for Neil Duff has been a bit of a love-hate relationship tonight.
20.
But he loves that one.
The first leg, Neil Duff.
Very nice consolidation of winning the bullseye in the practice room.
Second leg,
16 darts.
Game on.
Reflective of a reduction in standard compared to the rest of the night. That's how good he's played.
70.
But it was one thing that was very notable for Terry Nash in the group stage is the alteration of pace
85.
between matches, and when he plays quicker, he plays better. He starts to lose the lie a lot more. Starts going 5s and 1s, and case in point.
125.
Such a lovely fixing of the problem there with darts 2 and 3, though. Keeps himself in the running here in leg 2.
100.
I'm sure everybody who is playing next week has got an eye on this final, just trying to get the blood pumping in a good way, thinking that could be me next Saturday night.
59.
There was a name on that list, you know. I've been watching a lot of his stuff online recently. You might want to watch out for Tommy Lishman next week. He's played
100.
here before, and he's caused problems for people. I just wonder if he could be the one to watch out for.
42.
It's not quite happening for Terry Nash like it did in the semi-final.
But it is happening for Duff, man. That is only his 3rd maximum of the night. And considering the level he's been playing at,
140.
only 3 maximums is a surprise. It means the 2 treble visits and the doubling has been very good. Double 16.
4. Terry O'Carr, 65.
And Terry Nash has been given a second life in leg 2. He's going to have to do it the hard way. Double 4. He's done it the hard way.
Terry Nash.
He's got a few friends in the crowd as well.
Third leg, Neil through first. Game on.
Does that make his entourage the boss parents?
100.
I bet he hasn't thought that
The
far ahead.
Nashes?
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, very good
100.
point. But if you are going to make Champions Week, or indeed the Champions Night at the end of August, and if a certain Jimmy Van Schie is here, you might want to bring an entourage.
100.
It's quite interesting that John Worsley and Noah Vanluven have come out to watch this semi-final as well. They're probably sat there having a chat at the table saying, oh, Terry Nash will win this. Did you see the way he played in the semis? And John Worsley will go, you clearly didn't see Neil Duff's game against me.
100.
Those players see everything. There is a monitor in the practice room, which is a very comfortable space.
123.
And leg 3 is very much in the balance. Don't forget, Neil Duff has won 3 weekly titles and a special when he won the Double Trouble week.
93.
But before he did all of that, he was losing lots of finals before he crossed the line. He does not want to revert to that. He wants to embellish his record and get to 4 weekly titles with some esteemed names. No 2 double tops.
60.
Give Duff a chance
32.
of 2-1.
Game shot on the third leg, Neil Duff.
This is where having the advantage of throw, you can dismiss things
Fourth
a little
leg,
bit.
Teddy
Because
to
Neil
throw
Duff's
first.
had
Game on.
darts to get that breaker throw. He could be stood there now thinking I should be 3-0 up. But because he's held his throw again here and he's got the advantage of throw moving
95.
forward, it can just give you that little psychological edge where you don't get drawn into the battle of the individual moments.
Neil Duff has got 3 weekly
100.
titles, like we mentioned. He's alongside Conan Whitehead, Jim Mchuan, Scott Taylor,
100.
Matt Clark, and there are others as well who have ridiculous records when it comes
44.
to Portsmouth. But if Duff does win this final and gets to 4 weekly titles, he will join the illustrious list of Harrison,
59.
West, and Littler. If that's not motivation, I don't know what is. Because, let's face it, we know Neil.
28.
A lot of people know Neil Duff. They know that he wants to be regarded as a great dart player wherever he throws.
60.
And he loves this place. He wants to be the name of the Modus Super Series.
59.
In order to be that, you've got to be at the top of the list.
$59.
Well, 12 darts thrown for Neil Duff here. Only found the one treble.
100.
Gets himself down to a finish.
128.
He's in range.
I think you're right, Matt. I think that throw has slowed down dramatically. It's like he's playing in a different gear.
81. Near the car, 170.
Yeah, it's been a notable difference throughout the week. And that
80.
just tells you he's playing on feel.
47.
And he's playing on feeling. And maybe that just means he's feeling a little bit edgy right now.
You wouldn't blame him if he is.
27.
And hitting double 10 or tops
Near the
would have
car,
made him
90.
feel better, but he knows that he is riding a tightrope right now as Duff looks at double 15 for 3-1 in the final. This is a massive opportunity.
Game shot on the
And players like Duff don't miss shots like that. Pressure, it lives in his vicinity, and he owns it. That is the biggest moment of the night so far. And Duff only needs one more moment. A winning moment.
100.
And this is where the bullseye really comes into effect, because out of the last 3 legs, if we need to play them, Duff will have the throw in 2.
But when you're in this spot, you don't want that second chance, do you? You want it done.
Oh yeah, when you're in this spot, that doesn't feel like too much of an advantage when you're on there. It feels like a massive one when you sat
59.
watching, but when you're up there on the stage, completely different. And that last dart for Neil Duff, using the 19s rather than the 17s, means he's still
137.
9 darts away.
See, that's something I think that the next generation of dart players coming through academies and coaching, I think it's going to be somewhat eradicated. You've got to be on a number after 6 that allows you to finish in the next
100.
6. Brilliant ton, a somewhat imposing third dart that refused to be anything else but a treble 20. A few more visits like that,
45.
and he might just have Duff in a bit of bother. He has been losing the line in this final.
78.
He's back to what he was doing a little bit earlier on, averaging high 80s. I wonder if that's going to be enough
55.
to get through the last 3 legs.
46.
That doesn't feel enough for Neil Duff to give him a reasonable outshot here, and he might not get any shot. Double 10 for Terry Nash.
Game shot on the 5th
That's
leg.
one of the breaks to
Terry
throw
Nash.
that he's going to need. He's still
6
in
leg
there,
Terry to
he's
throw
still
first.
fighting. But
Game
can
on.
he find that fluency and that rhythm that he had in the semi-final?
Do you think in that first semi-final against Nolan, she allowed him to play like that? She allowed him to play really quickly. Duff is a bit more wily. He will take that extra couple of seconds if he feels it's prudent.
Well, that's exactly what I said
125.
needed to happen in that semi-final. I said Noah Lynn needed just to have those extra couple of seconds. But look at the pace now of Terry Nash.
140.
Seriously impressive scoring in the penultimate leg, potentially, of the week.
I've got a feeling when Terry Nash watches back this week,
180.
he is going to become a fast dart player all of a sudden.
Did I say it was the penultimate leg? I might have misspoken. Neil Duff hasn't done yet in leg number 6. But look at the numbers after 9 and 6 from these two players. Seriously impressive under this kind of pressure.
41. Car 76.
The last leg decider in a final over the last few weeks. Yeah, it happens a lot. And it's going to happen again. Now Duff is very happy that he won the bullseye. However, he's lost the last 2 legs.
7th and final leg, Neil to throw first. Game on.
What is it about last leg deciders over the last 6 to 7 weeks here in Portsmouth? We cannot get enough of them.
140.
That's experience right there. All the pressure on Nash.
60.
And what he's done in the last couple of legs will be completely pointless if Duff keeps doing this.
In a last leg shootout, when it's 3 legs apiece, you've got the throw, and you hit 5 big power trebles in the opening 6 starts. You're saying to your opponent, there's nothing you can do. And there isn't. It now relies on Neil Duff making mistakes to give Terry Nash any
100.
hope. And mistakes, he is not making any.
The only way I can criticise this last leg from Duffman is that each visit has got worse. 180, 140, ton. But he just needs 62 more. Double 13. And the Duffman is in dreamland once again. It's a 4th weekly title, and he joins the greats at the top of the list in Littler, West and Harrison. He's going back to Champions Week for another tilt at a first series title. And Duffman has worked very, very hard for it tonight against some great opponents. Terry Nash, I'm sure, will be philosophical over the next few days. He is just worried a world champion in the final. And great congratulations from all of the other players. It was a tremendous final. But the last leg, 12 darter on double 13, that is what champions are made of. And 44% on the doubles was good enough in the end, but having 9 darts at a double proved to be the number that gave him the opportunity to get that 4th weekly title, to become one of the greats here at the Modus Super Series. So Terry is defeated by 4 legs to 3, and now we will go to the stage to see and hear from what I'm sure is a very, very pleased Neil Duff.
Ladies and gentlemen, fantastic week of darts here. What a great final we've had tonight. Please put your hands together and welcome to receive the trophy for the Modus Super Series, Series 8 Week 5 winner. It's the Duffman, Neil Duff!
Yeah, Neil Duff with another weekly win. Matthew Egger has joined me, and he was certainly worth that victory, wasn't he?
He's been the best player of the night consistently. They started off the night with that 100. The Noah Lynn game didn't go his way, but then he sort of stepped it up again there. He did what he needed to do. And in that final, what a way to win it, because Terry Nash really hit back hard and got it back to 3 apiece, and it'd be so easy to fold at that situation. Instead, he got better. 5 big power trebles from his opening 6. He needed to make mistakes to give Terry any chance. Found another time. It was a great performance. It was a professional performance. It's a performance you expect from a champion.
Neil's going to join us in a moment. Let's talk about Terry then before he gets here. Fantastic from him this week, wasn't it? The whole week he's been brilliant.
Oh, absolutely. And he'll be back here in no time, I'm sure. And he'll be back here, but this time with a bit of reputation, because he actually played some fantastic stuff this week. I've been keeping an eye on like the YouTube chat and seeing what people are thinking throughout the week as well. A lot of people have been very impressed with Terry at the start of it. They weren't too sure who Terry was. He's put his name on the map.
Yeah, Neil, come on in, take a seat. Well done. And yeah, congratulations, Neil. First reaction from you on another win on that stage behind us.
Yeah, this one felt a wee bit special just because I kind of struggled all week. You go from like a mid-80 average to 100 plus. So I always said it earlier on in the week that doesn't matter what you do during the week, you have to go out there and perform. I think Noah Lynn showed too much respect and got my ass handed to me. So yeah, I went out and put it right the next game. Thankfully, that's another one in the ledger. Yeah.
The week as a whole, you just sort of alluded to it then, but you have got a habit of sort of coming good later in the week, haven't you? And that is the way to get through to Champions Week.
Yeah, it's becoming a bit of a habit now, so it is. Yeah. So long may it continue. I'm not complaining, but yeah, tinkering about with my darts. Going to take Matt's advice and throw the other ones in the river. So just hold on to these and play with it. Played well tonight. Felt confident. Yeah, the arm was loose and we were going. When I played John Worley, I didn't realise it was such a good game. I didn't feel like that there, but I just bang on 180s for 140s for fun. No, not so many 180s tonight, but 140s were just going flying in. Yeah.
Obviously, in the practice room, you will have seen how well Terry was playing as well. Did that give you that sort of extra little bit of fire in the belly yourself?
I think the fact that I'd beat him twice in the group was maybe a plus. Winning the Bull was probably a big factor in it as well. Yeah, I know what Terry can do. He's a quality player. I'd say he'll be back here again. But yeah, I'm glad I just put it together in the last leg. I have a habit of going missing for a leg or two, so I have. So to put it right, and yeah, that meant a lot to me there, just to get that double out of the way, and yeah, put another one on the score sheet.
You've beat him twice in the week, but you actually told him you was going to beat him 4-0 the other day. Did you tell him before that one?
I didn't tell him before this one. I thought it would be kind of a little bit rude just to go out for the final. But I made the statement when he came in off the 106 average, and I goes out and does 109, just to let him know who the boss is. So yeah, he knew he was up against it. We played each other at ADC and stuff as well. So yeah, he's a quality player, but I'm just happy to be playing somewhat what like I can. If I can get the consistency going, I'll be hard to stop.
You're going to be a busy boy, aren't you, at the end of this series? We've just tonight announced the double start week, double trouble, in which you'll be defending your crown. That comes straight after Champions Week. So a couple of weeks here in Portsmouth, and you could be cashing in.
Yeah, I'm actually, yeah, it's going to be a busy time, and kind of off the back of, we've got a lot of stuff coming up with the ADC finals and the seniors tour and stuff as well. So yeah, the back end of the year is starting to get really busy, but I think I had mentioned it before, and I think it was time I bought a property down here, because I've no intentions of going to Q school, so I could be here for a while yet, you know.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, he sat next to you. He said he was taking your advice on the darts. Do you think he's doing the right thing in playing all of this other stuff and sort of forgetting about chasing that PDC tour card, where we've seen some players kind of suffer from getting one? Absolutely.
We've seen this is now becoming part of darts. You know, before darts was all about getting to the PDC and it was the pinnacle of everything. Where now there's options. Darts has never been in a better place, and you know, we've now got the ADC Global Championship, we've got the WDF and Lakeside, we've got the Super Series, we've got so many options now for where you can go and play darts that, yes, that's the top of the mountain, but you can be a professional player now without going to the PDC, and Neil and many others are taking full advantage of those systems.
You've won 4 times on that stage now on a Saturday. You've won the double trouble. Five. Well, I was adding the double trouble on. 4 Super Series weeks, and then obviously the Champions Week is the one that has eluded you so far. Does that gnaw away at you yet? Is that something that's a real target for you?
You know yourselves, it took me a long time to actually get a weekly win here. I think 6 or 7 chances. So that was kind of that had ate away at me a bit. So. Yeah, a Champions Week is high on the agenda here, yeah, really, and it would cap off, I think, what I've been doing down here. I think I deserve a proper, I think I can do it, yeah.
Well, we've almost got half the field filled for this Champions Week. Let's show you the weekly winners from this series so far. Tom Sykes, of course, made it to the big final. Jim Long from Canada, Richard Eric Rowlands, Jimmy Van Ski, very popular in this place, and Neil Duff. It's shaping up nicely, Matt.
I think Jimmy Van Ski's popular in every place at the moment. He's a right character, he's a great guy, good player, like you say, shaping up, and the dynamic of that very different. We've got players sort of towards the latter end of the career, players at the start and in the middle. So it's a really good sort of dynamic, and it'll be a really good group. And we're not even halfway full yet.
7 weeks to wait until that for you. What's the plan between now and then?
I'm going to have a wee bit of a break now. Take it easy. I think we're going to do the seniors at the end of July. August isn't looking too bad, but it'll give me a chance just to gear up for the last part of the year, which is really going to be busy. And I've not been home a lot lately, so it'll be nice to just get home and chill out for a while. And I'll still play the ADC vaults have started again, so I'll play them there, but I kind of use them as practice.
Well, you've earned a bit of a rest, Neil. Congratulations, well done tonight. Matthew, thanks for your company and that of Paul Nicholson as well. But for this evening, the action is over after another breathless day of sport. And based on what Neil Duff just said, it might be him that's coming home for Champions Week.